So, today's the day I'm at 666,000 subscribers.
Don't. We have to start that one with that, didn't we?
Samantha said we're going to have to turn that on its head.
Yes, please. Please. We'll make it a good number.
Yes. If you haven't seen I think it was about 30 minutes we did on Attwood Unleashed with Samantha Browne. Such a charismatic speaker with a heartbreaking, harrowing story, but she comes out the other end with this massive smile and this massive energy, and she's just doing such important work right now for the movement. But she does say babe a lot. So
just to clarify, like, to make that claim before, just a disclaimer, it's not that Shaun is my babe, it's that everyone's babe. Like, they'll know. If they've seen my interviews, they'll know. It slips out every now and then.
So huge thank you for coming on.
Thanks.
And this is a whole new audience now to what we did previously. So we're going to go over your entire life story in as much detail as possible.
Yes.
So start with what part of England in the beginning when you was a kid?
Where am I from?
Yeah.
I always say proud Northerner, Manchester, born and bred. I'm so proud to be from that town. I just think we're a bit friendlier up north. Like,
Definitely.
Like, can smile and something like, you're right. Not what do you want? But yeah, this is why I think, and I always say, like, it's so important that people understand that I come from a non-domestic violent home. Do you know what I mean? Like, nothing was happening to me and my sister. We had a loving mum and dad who like cared for us so much. You know what I mean? Took us on holiday every year, made sure we had food in the cupboards.
What part of Manchester was this?
It's called Chaddington, babe.
Chadderton.
Chadderton. Do you know it?
No, where is it?
It's a shithole. Sorry, not sorry. But no, it's a little.
Is that South Manchester? North
No,
Manchester?
it's north. It's north. Yeah, it's
Manchester.
like near, I guess. So I'm trying to think. Cheetah Mill. Like, that's probably the closest place that people will know, because it's like Moston, Cheetah Mill, and then Chadderton. But luckily, I've still kept my northern accent. I'm very, very happy about that, considering I live in Birmingham now. But yeah, loving home.
What was it like in school for you?
Right, so this is the thing, like school, it was mad because I guess already we was kind of influenced a little bit by technology, do you know what I mean? But in school, you know, I was labelled a naughty kid. I've got ADHD and...
Right. Was that diagnosed back then?
No, it wasn't, and that's the thing, like, that's why... It's mad, because I think if we look at like how society's moved, we've got so many labels for things now, but really I'm just a bit of an erratic person, and I can't focus on something unless I'm really enthralled in it. And let's face it, the way school is, they're talking at you, they're not talking with you. And I was a little bit naughty, wagged school, I guess, started smoking weed at a young age, because the only bad thing at home was with my mum and dad, like in regards to their relationship, not their parenthood. They were amazing parents. It was just they had a really toxic relationship with each other, and I think that was when I started to go a bit disobedient, a bit naughty.
So did you hear them arguing a lot then?
Yeah. And they, you know, they were aggressive to each other, and it was we never seen it, like me and my younger sibling, but
the tension passes down, doesn't it?
And you can pick it up, babe. Like, I'm sorry, but like younger children, like, we are so inquisitive, like, as younger children, and we can pick up on energy. And I guess I also had the whole social construct of you need to have a perfect family. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think divorce was still a bit frowned upon. Like, you know, it was like a broken home situation. And everyone, you know, says that you're meant to have a mum and dad, you know, and everything's meant to be perfect in your life. And let's face it, like, that's not the case. And we need to break these social barriers, because for me, like, we have parents that are abusing their children. So how do you think that they feel when you're telling them you're meant to have a perfect family? I've learned over time that family doesn't always consist of blood. Like, there's a lot of people in my life that I consider family now. But when it was at that time, I really resented my parents. I looked at them as that I kind of blame myself for them breaking up. And I guess when anyone who's got kids will know, like, when you're like 13 and 14, you're going through your hormones and all that. And yeah, I guess I turned into that what is it, Kevin and Perry? And I was just like, shut up, mum, shut up, dad, like, you know. And I got this hidden responsibility at a young age to look after my little sister because my dad, bless him, like, he was trying his best, but he got left with some arrears from the house and he was trying to get a better job. So he had to go and do like nighttime university courses. So I was there looking after my sister. And I started to be a bit of a rebel at this point, started hanging about with older boys, started to be a bit more sexually active, I guess, started to look at myself and started to think that the attention I was getting was love. And I think that's where it can be confusing in a dysfunctional home if you don't really address this to your children, because when you don't, like, you can get really confused. And I was so confused. Like, I was just so angry at the world, and I just wanted to have my childhood, and I guess I felt like it was being taken from me, you know, like with the being able, the responsibility and stuff. So
how many siblings did you have?
One. Yeah,
okay.
I love my little sister. She's amazing.
What was the age difference?
5 years.
Oh, same with me and mine.
Really?
Yeah.
And it is like when you're younger, like we're best mates now, but when you're younger, like you can be like, mate, go away. Like, do you know what I mean? Like you're annoying. Like it's like you're 13 and like they're like 8 and you're like, nose off, like. And you know, I guess that was the case. And you know, I used to get angry at my little sister because she'd be like, tell my dad that I'd have people around. I'd be like, stop grassing on me.
I was the same.
I'm like, what am I doing? I shouldn't have them round, babe.
Yeah.
I just start telling them what
Mum
to
would
do.
get a shoe out.
Thank God there's no shoes, mate, honestly. But yeah, I guess like I started to kind of like rob from my mum and dad's purse, you know, and just kind of had this really F you attitude. And like I say, I was started smoking weed at that point, and started drinking on the streets.
Because there's a lot of gangs in that part of Manchester, isn't
there? Yeah.
So were you interacting with gang members?
It's mad because at the time you don't see it as that, but there actually was postcode rivalry, like with the groups I hung about with. And it was funny, I flitted from group to group. Like, 'cause my cousin was on one group, and then where I lived was classed as like Moston, so there's Moston and Chadder in it. It's like postcode wars.
Yeah.
But it's mad because thinking about it now, like one of my friends was shotting weed at like under 16. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So it's like he was getting criminally exploited and he didn't know, and I just go around with him like, oh, my mate's a badass, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, so I think when I started to go through school, like, don't get it twisted, I was smart. Like I got like 7 A to C's, and I guess I pushed past the barrier of them saying, oh, you know, you have to have this.
Were there some subjects you really enjoyed?
Yeah, of course. Believe it or not, drama. Can you tell, babe? You know what? It's nice though, because I've only just got this back in me now. Like, I lost this part of me a long time ago. And when I was a kid, I used to be really like, hi, I'm here. Like, hello. And I really liked as well. I liked, I think it was just drama, really. And PE. Yeah, PE, I liked that because I wasn't the type of person to just sit there and listen. I got bored, so I liked activity stuff, kinesthetic learner and all that. But I guess when I left school that things started to get a bit, I say dark. It's so weird because, like, I think we all have these turning points in life, don't we? And you always say, oh, if I didn't go down that route, what would have happened? And I was at a turning point at 16 years old. And when I left school, I was with 2 of my friends from school. Still speak to one of them now. And they introduced me to this girl, this lady, should I say. She was considerably older than me as well. Older than all of us. We're still trying to work it out if she was like 8 or 10 years, between 8 to 10 years older than us. And she was highly influential. She was, at the time, living with her friends. She had her own car. And she was very open about being a stripper. And my friends introduced me to her as, she's the stripper, like she's got a really cool life, and then I seen her and we started going out, and she bought like us weed and then would buy pizza and stuff. And my other 2 friends, like, were probably there. They were there for like a month or something. Like, maybe we were chilling together for like a month together. And she would do little things then which questioned her agenda of what she wanted us for, because at the end of the day, like, it's a bit weird because as 15 and 16-year-old kids, like, we were sat there and this lady started to give us lap dances. She started to openly get her clothes out, her stripper clothes.
How did that make you feel at that time?
So at first it was weird. It was weird. Like, it was just kind of like, oh, there's, you know, a tit in my face. Like, it's really weird. But like, we were sat there and we felt awkward, but I don't know. Like, it was just weird. I
It's
guess
like in the Epstein case, like the kids were brought in from the schools, and then Maxwell would introduce them to nudity and stuff and try and make it normal.
Really bad, babe. Like, and obviously, like, my other two friends, like, they dispersed after, but I stayed, like, and I got really enthralled with this girl, like, massively. And my mum and dad obviously were like, why are you on about this girl? She's a lot older than you, like, try and tell a 16-year-old what to do. This is why it's dangerous and why I have to spread this message, because these perpetrators that have an agenda are fucking everywhere, and this is the fact of it. Like, what like 25-year-old woman hangs about with 16-year-olds, like, you know, like. And not only that, she then, when I was by myself with her, started to introduce me to a lifestyle that I never knew about. Now, obviously, it's took me a long time of therapy and to understand about what happened to me to get to this point, but I know that this girl groomed me. Like, she did. Like, I have broke this down so many times, and I've been like, how did it end up from there to there? So I realised it was a process, and that's what they do. First of all, they befriend you, and it was very easy for her to befriend me. I wanted to be friends with her. Like, you know what I mean? I idolise this girl. And then they isolate you. So what happened with me is, like, because with my dad, bless him, like, we were brought up a bit in first world poverty with my dad. Like, we had a screwdriver as a handle, do you know what I mean? Like, I had to knock on the fridge, like, and all that kind of thing. Like, but it was our home, and, you know, my dad was trying his best, and she just made it very clear that my house was dirty. It wasn't acceptable to stay there. So I was always at her house. And again, I was happy about that at the time, you know, a 17-year-old kid, like, and, you know, just buzzing with my life, like thinking, oh, my best mate's so cool. She's got a car, then she got 2 houses. And I was like, whoa. Mate, wolf in sheep's clothing. And
what were the early warning signs?
Well, I guess the dancing would have been one. The whole giving me a line at 17 years old, like, because as I was saying, like, she got me introduced to this lifestyle where, and also she'd do weird things where she'd tell, like to be like, oh, I get topless on the motorway, you know, like just random weird shit like that, and then I would copy her. And obviously, like, I fully take responsibility. Like, I've got to a point in my life, like, anyone wants to say, oh, I'm blaming anyone, that's bullshit. I've took responsibility for my actions no matter how old I was. Even as a child, I'm like, listen, you know, I was bad-minded, robbed off my mum and dad. Like, I am that person. Like, I'm not sat here blaming anyone. I'm saying that there is a process to grooming, and that is what happened. And when I seen this lifestyle that she had, I guess I just copied everything. I just thought she was really cool. And that's the sad thing as well, because we can put in society a value on our worth, and that usually comes in what trainers do you wear, you know, what watch are you, what car are you driving, you know, and that is a matrix. Like, it's a pyramid that gets you a falsified sense of self-worth that means absolutely bullshit. Because I'm telling you right now, some of the conversations I've had with homeless people are the most inspiring and profound freaking conversations I've had. So fuck anyone who thinks a pair of trainers makes them feel good or better than anyone, you know. And that's the kind of person that she was, like, you know. And very quickly I was introduced to people like armed robbers. You know, we were going to parties and boys were sniffing lines off my ass. I was always told to say I was 18, do you know what I mean? Yeah, just, that's where, I guess, because I've seen myself as a sexual object from so young, it was so easy. And this is why I'm so scared for the future generation, Shaun, because if we look at how they're influenced now, I had the Spice Girls, mate. You've got Cardi B now, like, singing WAP. Like, sorry, but the fact that we have been indoctrinated this much now to accept this kind of stuff, and I am adamant the only reason I've been put on this planet and to have been through what I've been through is to save the children. And I am not happy about the fact that they are being programmed this way. And I guess even with the little influence that we had in that day and age, with me getting groomed at that age, this is how I know like human trafficking and exploitation has fucking soared because of the image that we're chasing. We're chasing this image that everyone wants a bit of a gangster, you know what I mean? Like,
what's Cardi B saying?
Oh my days, what is she saying, babe? I don't listen to her. She's, you know what I mean? WAP, like, honestly. And then how close, like, is this? And obviously there was that little Nas X thing the other day, like, and as a survivor of SRA, like, it's embarrassing, like, it's actually, like, tormenting. Like, my friend Lisa, like, she couldn't even watch the video because it triggered her that much because of the abuse that she's been through. They're mimicking us. But anyway, yeah, the tangents, honestly, I can go on for days because I understand about the influence of the young minds of what's going on now. And that is why, like, I am adamant that when people hear my story, they're gonna hopefully like understand how real this is, because sometimes people can see this as a far-fetched conspiracy, babe, what we're going to talk about today, but it certainly isn't. Grooming exists, child exploitation exists, county lines, you know, bloody hell, there's babies having babies now, like it's shocking.
So you're still a teenager in your story, yeah. Then she's got you going parties, meeting armed robbers, and what happens next?
So this is when she disclosed herself as a prostitute to me. I was 17, and at this point, like I say, I thought she was the best thing since sliced bread. So I listened to what she said, and yeah, at the age of 17, I thought it was normal to sell my body unprotected, bareback, with guys up and down the country, and with my so-called best friend, you know, dressing up as schoolgirls and all this shit. And not only that, like, she got me a show on Babe Station at 17 years old. Like, I understand, like, people can say, oh, 17-year-olds know what they're doing, but I just beg people to ask, like, at 17 years old, please go back to your mindset, because I've only just worked things out now at 30 years old, so God knows how anyone can victim blame like that. It makes me sick. But yeah, she got me a show on Babe Station, and some of these people might know what that show is, and if they don't, it's a very sad show where sad guys call and they think that you want to talk to them for £3 a minute. When you don't, you're there for your paycheck. And I was on that show as a minor. It was called a hotel voyeur. It's been closed down now, thank God. But if you think about the severity of that, they didn't ask me for my ID. They assumed that because I was with this lady that I was of age. I was a half-naked minor on a show where guys were calling me for sex chat. So the programming had begun, my friend, massively. And this, like I say, it took me to the Wicked Witch of the West. And I went into the adult industry, and again, I take responsibility for my actions, but I have to take this industry down with this as well, because are you
compartmentalizing as you're going along? Are you like as you're doing the things in the adult industry, is part of you like acting tough, and another part of you is like burying the trauma?
But listen, right, so when you do a job, this is how I try and explain it to people, like, you do a job that you don't like for money, so say, you know, you're stacking shelves or whatever, and you are selling a part of yourself because you don't want to do that, but you're doing it for the money. Now think about that when you're doing it with your body. You are having to repress on a level that I didn't even understand what I was repressing. This is where I got addicted to coke. This is where I honestly, as well, and my dad didn't know what I was doing. So, because I told him I was modelling, I went off to London at 18 years old, and I went into the adult industry for 3 years. And I guess as I got more immersed into it, I got more lost. I wasn't even registering what I was doing. Like, I turned into my alias, like, and honestly, like, I beg anyone, please do not watch any of my stuff. Like, I was fucking off my face on most of it. I had the worst mental health, like, So in the adult industry, I'm probably going to ruin a few guys' lives now, but I really don't care because, again, it's an illusion. It's part of the matrix. It's not real. And because I understand now about things like sexual energy, about a loving, compassionate relationship, about boundaries, I didn't know about any of that. And I was pushing myself like I was just a fucking rag doll. So when I got into the adult industry, first and foremost, it was through her, through Babe Station. But then she took me to my first movie, this lady. And it's mad because I went to this company called Kilogram. Now, Kilogram are disgusting, yeah? And they basically have a pimp inside that organisation. So when I went there, luckily he wasn't the pimp that I got pimped out by, but I found out he was a pimp later on. And what these companies do, babe, is they do a tribal technique, yeah? So I've noticed this is how they work. They make you feel like part of the family. Even this company, they introduced me to their children. They said to me, they were like, now people in the industry, they're going to slag us off. Oh, I wonder why. Because what they do is like, because a lot of people don't understand how the industry works. Big name like Jenna Jameson, yeah? If you got her first scene, then you would technically, when she got big, would be a millionaire because you would have her first content, you know? And these motherfuckers, what they're doing is they are telling you not about that. They're not telling you about that. They're saying, oh, here's an extra 50 quid, up your level. Here's another 50 quid, up your level. What? So they've got all of your levels, and then when you go boom, who's the one with all the money? Like, honestly, it's scummy. It's scummy because what they're doing is they're using like manipulation techniques to get people to push themselves, and they don't care about you. They care about the money.
Your commodity.
Yes, babe. I am their property. Like, they want to use me the best way they can. And let's face it, being used sexually is not good. Like, I am sick to death of this sexualized society that we live in now, where OnlyFans becomes normal. Like, honestly, this is a very slippery slope, and this is why since last year, like, I know that my message is falling on the right ears, because people are realizing that their kids are getting indoctrinated. People are realizing about, be safer online. Like, the workshops that I do for online grooming, the amount when people wake up and they're just like, whoa, I need to protect my kids. So please make sure you do protect your kids online, because they have very easy access to the adult industry. And again, that's another thing that makes me sick about the adult industry. The access, you have to pay for Netflix, but you don't have to pay to get porn. All right then, mate. Let's not forget how easy it is for kids to work their way through a computer now, babe. And then they've got little Naz on there now with Pornhub, like it's a joke, and kids are not, they can work 2 and 2 out. So yeah, when I was in this adult industry, people think it's all sex, drugs and rock and roll. Well, there was definitely sex, there was definitely drugs, and there was ragging about. I had seen things like anal tears, feces. I remember being on a scene doing... So I did my first anal scene, and I'd never done anything like that before. And I remember being sat downstairs, and mind you, yeah, we are sat there, and we're in a beautiful, beautiful mansion, like in America, poolside, all of it, yeah. And then I'm watching this scene where this girl's just recently come back from stitches, and then she's getting battered by like 4 guys. And mind you, I'm just about to do my first scene, so I'm sat there, fucking shitting herself everywhere, like, and I'm just like, oh my god, like, I really can't do that, like, I don't want to embarrass myself like that, please, like. And then you can't say no, babe, like, you can, but you've been paid now, do you know what I mean? You've put your name on there.
God.
So on that scene, I had to get asphyxiated, like, it's so bad, because the worst thing about it is I thanked the guy after. Like, I said to him, I was like, oh, thank you, because I was in that much pain. Like, I said to him, I was like, thank you for choking me out. Like, so again, you're not contemplating what's going on, babe. Like, and I will sit round a table with any adult actress or actor, It's another thing as well. People think that this is a good job being an actor. Let me tell you, they're injecting their dick by the end of it because they can't keep it up anymore. People need to stop with it, babe. Like, think about the whole genre of schoolgirls, sexualizing schoolgirls. This is sick, man. Like, and we are just justifying it by going, yes, some of the girls want to be there. Bullshit. There's a freaky Karen every once in a while. Let's not get it twisted, yeah? But I know 100%. Most of the girls that are in the adult industry have mental health issues, have been abused, have got drug issues, and are doing things they don't want to do. Because if you took the money away, would they do it? No. So I am sick to death of people justifying the adult industry, because for 3 years that I was in there, oh my God, the amount of shit that I seen, the amount I have seen girls get raped, babe. And like this fucking shit, like, and it's like, you know, these companies, they make out that shoving a fist or two dicks in one hole is like something to be appealing. It's not. It's a violation of feminine divine energy. They are ripping apart what is meant to be a beautiful relationship. Like, I have a consensual relationship now. Like, I know, like, I'm not being funny, but most of the time you want to be spit and choked on is because you've probably watched a movie or two. Do you know what I mean? Like, I used to think I liked that, babe. Like, and then I got with someone who loved me, and I realised what making love was and having a consensual, beautiful relationship. So the adult industry in itself, like, it really, really needs to get looked into, and people need to understand one of the biggest things about the adult industry is it is covering up child rape videos, because I don't think child porn exists. It's how we've even got to that point where we are socially accepting that word is beyond me. It's child rape, like, content, end of. And we have got to an extent now where we're just people are like, oh, we can't do anything about that, the dark web, we can't. Well, they make you think that you can if we come together and actually stand up for the children. And I think because of what I've seen now, and things like, you know, because of what happened to me, having to look into all of this stuff, when you look into Trafficking Hub and Mind Geek, and you're finding out that a 15-year-old girl has had to beg to get their video taken down, and they have been sued £600 million. Why is this not in the mainstream media? Like, why do not people like want to? Why are people not like having this in front of their faces so that they understand? Because I think when people realise that it's the children, that's when I'm hoping they step up. So I'm just hoping that people can see from my path of what I've even spoke up to now, how easy like it can be for that to happen to a child. And you best believe, because I go into schools now, you best believe that I get scared to the core when I go into schools now, because them young girls look my age. Like, some of them do their contour better than I do. And I remember wearing white girls' makeup in school because I didn't have a frigging clue what I was doing, babe. Like, and I'm just like, how? And also, so, like, the young boys as well, they don't realise, like, when they have a picture of a young girl on their phone, they've actually got explicit child pictures. And I tell the kids, I'm like, listen, when I go to school, I'm like, listen, mandem, if you think it's all cool having a girl on your phone, I said, you'll be getting 4 years if they find that out.
As
like,
a sex offender.
And they go like this on their phone, and I'm like, oh my God, why is it taking me to talk to these kids to get this through? But anyway, that we'll go on to that later, because this is so important to let people know that these people exist. And as much as they come in female form, they also come in male form too. And 3 years I was in the adult industry, and in that time, that girl who groomed me went and come back. So she went, she got a boyfriend, like, she was doing her own thing. I don't like saying it, but I was getting successful in the adult industry. I was seen as a commodity in, like, a lot of ways. I was shooting for all of the big companies, getting put on billboards in Australia, you know, getting flown out to, like, you know, sleeping behind the Hollywood signs, you know what I mean? Like, I was really sorted after. I was on Page 3. I won Adult Actress of the Year. Me, honestly, none of that goes on my CV. Like, but honestly, like, looking back now, it just makes me realise that it's all like fake lights, you know, like, it's like moths to a fake flame. So you think you're following all these lights, and you get there and it's like boom, you burn, and then you're in it. So you know what you're gonna do. You're stuck in the money. So I started to live this life that looked really cushy. You know what I mean? Bags, chauffeurs, but I didn't have a clue, mate. I thought me giving the £5 to a homeless man thought that I was a good person, and believe it or not, that I was better than him, and that is not right whatsoever. So in that little ditzy land, you know, going through my fucking this adult industry world where I'm just like, you know, I'm blinded by the fake lights. You know, I'm thinking because I'm on all the tables and getting pop bottles and all this, that, you know, my life's cushy. Like, and it's not. Like, I used to be up at 6 a.m. sniffing lines thinking that Amy Winehouse was a G. Like, you know, what's that about? So slowly but surely, like, I was working my way up in the industry and got nominated for an AVN and all this kind of stuff.
What does that mean?
It's an adult. It's like the prestige. I'm so glad you don't know, babe. That makes me so happy. It's like a prestige adult award. So there's the UK and then there's the USA, and the USA is obviously the Don one, like the arse of Babylon, like literally. And with the adult industry, you know, all of the LA lights and all that. But yeah, mate, on there, the amount of them that are on Xanax, like, do you know what I mean? They can't even keep up with themselves, babe. And again, this is where people need to understand how do you know you're not watching a trafficked girl on them videos? Because towards the end of my adult industry career, then I was still doing a few movies when I met this man.
Before we go, though, I've got several questions about what you've said so far.
Okay, come on, babe.
So just to keep it in chronological order.
Yes.
So you said you actually saw girls got raped.
Yeah,
what were the circumstances of that?
So I was on a set for something called Rocco Siffredi, who is a very big name in the adult industry, and he's quite violent in his approach to his movies. This is a porn
guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's quite violent and aggressive. I wouldn't even say look up to it because I think most of his movies look like a rape scene.
He's an actor or a director?
He's an actor and a director.
Okay.
So you can imagine the power trip that he's having.
Yeah.
And I don't care, man. Like, I will out everyone in the adult industry. They can't say shit to me, like, because I've seen it for what it is. And basically, I was doing this scene with this girl. He made her shave her head in the movie and everything. Proper weird.
How much did you get paid to shave her head?
I don't know, babe. Like, I think I got paid £700 for that scene. So, but she was doing higher stuff than I was. I should say after that first scene in America, I didn't really do that much times after because of how much pain I was in. So a lot of girls just do it though, you know, like they just push themselves, you know, because they're on painkillers and stuff.
They take painkillers.
Yeah, like massively, babe. Most of them are doped up anyway. Like, trust me, like I have been on set and sniffing lines. Like, do you know what I mean? So, the thing was with the adult stuff is that. Sorry, babe, what did you ask? You asked me something.
So you said earlier that you actually seen girls get raped.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, so in that scene, what happened was, it was an aggressive scene, and when we was doing part of the movie, she was pushing him off. And I know that wasn't part of the scene. It was because when they are bashing you in your kidney, I believe it or not, it actually hurts. Do you know what I mean? Because what people don't forget is that you're doing this for the camera. So when, I sound so mad, but when you're usually in a position, it's straightforward, you know? It's not to the side. So when they're to the side and they're doing it for the camera and they're bashing you and then they're bashing you and they're bashing you in the corner of your stomach like this. And it's like, you know, it's honestly, babe, it's not glamorous whatsoever. Like the douching and the enemas that you have to do and stuff, like to flush yourself out. Sorry, but let's not beat around the bush now, guys. Like I'm sick to death of people glamorizing this industry, and I just think people need to know about the really nitty gritty shit. And again, this is where like at the time I didn't know, but you know, there could have possibly been girls there that were being trafficked. But as I got out of that industry, like I realised that there was girls.
Trafficked from overseas or just local?
No, local. They were. That's how I found out that Pimp was in Kilogram, because I found out that he was pimping out certain girls, and I was like, wow, this is mad.
So you said that the girls take drugs, and you said that the men inject something. I imagine that they take Viagra then to keep it
Sometimes,
up.
Sometimes, yeah.
And what do they inject?
like just stuff to make it work, babe. Like, I don't know, like, honestly, it freaked me out, because obviously, like, when they get to that point, it's because it sounds mad, but not many guys can step up to the job, because again, it's very artificial. You have to do things on cue. It's not really what you want to be doing, mate. Honestly, the pressure's insane. And that's why we do something called fluffing outside of the camera, because when you do that, you're probably more sensual than you ever will be on camera, because you have to kind of get the mood, you know what I mean? Believe it or not, we weren't robots like that, and when it didn't work like that, and you did want a connection with who you was working with, trying to anyway. But yeah, like, injecting it by the end of it, because there's only so many guys that can step up to the job, so they're reusing the guys. Do you know what I mean?
Have you ever seen the movie Boogie Nights?
No.
It's about the industry.
Really?
Yeah, and the guy who's the star in it, it goes really dark at the end, what happens to him, drugs and everything. So do you think psychologically then the guys end up screwed up as well?
I think it's damaging overall, babe. You can't have a healthy relationship in the industry. Like, the amount of people that tried to get together, and then if you can imagine, then you're going to be banging another co-worker. You know, maybe you have to do a scene and you're together, and then there's someone else coming in.
They did have that scenario in the movie Boogie Nights.
This is very common.
Jealousy,
very common, babe. Very, very common. And that's natural. Like, I don't want no one touching my damn woman. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So it's understandable. But yeah, it literally is so funny, because people have this vision of it, and yeah, by the end of it, the guys are injecting their dick and the girls sneezing shit. So, you know what I mean? What kind of life is that?
And once they get past the sell by date,
they're gone, babe. Oh no, actually, women. It depends who you are as a man, because obviously they had Ron Jeremy, they had...
He's in prison now, isn't he?
Shock. I wonder why. Everything's coming out very nicely. But yeah, I think with guys, yeah, sell by date. But with girls, believe it or not, mate, they got grandma shit going on. Do you know what I'm saying?
What?
So, babe, this stuff is like, and this is what I'm saying, like, this is why porn is bad for people, because it fucks with their mental health, where they think they need more, and then they push the levels more, and then what they don't realise is that they are contributing to the sick, twisted world that then goes into all the other sick stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you think, like, when people start to get into, the rape side of things, you know, and all that kind of stuff, it's like, then... are they going to mimic that in their relationships? Like, how detrimental is that really to your mental health? Like, giving you that falsified image of what you think is consent. Because again, ladies and gents, no one, apart from maybe 1% of them, wants to be there. Like, they don't. Like, it's because of the money. I can guarantee you I would never have done this. One day, babe, like, I was there for nearly 13 hours, yeah, and I had to bounce on this thing for like 4 hours, like, and honestly, like, the pain, the raw, like, they just don't know, like, they just push these girls to do this. Like, it's not even that they push them, it's like you feel like you have to do it, babe, because if you don't, you're gonna not get work, and then you're stuck with the money. It's like, oh, it's a vicious cycle, man, such a vicious cycle. Oh, yeah, so I can't justify the adult industry whatsoever.
So you said about the escorting side of it.
Yeah.
Did you meet any really dodgy characters in that? Any dangerous situations that you encountered in that?
When I was an escort, like, because I was doing the more higher end of stuff, like courtesan shit and all that, like, you know, getting flying out to see certain people because of who I was. You know, there's different levels, isn't there, to stuff, and I was getting paid quite well for the hour kind of thing, which is nothing really. But with that, no, I didn't really, when I was in the adult industry, no, because it was the higher clienteles that I was seeing. I didn't really reckon, to be fair, most of them just had loads of coke, like, and we was just there partying. That was usually the case, because I didn't do many jobs with regards to escorting them, because I didn't have to. Do you know what I mean? And I say didn't have to. That's awful, innit? But
so during these early years then,
yeah.
When did you feel was the most dangerous situations you were in?
I think probably with the girl at the start. Like, she showed me how to get into cars, like, getting into cars, like, with guys, like, you know, the whole bareback thing, that was really dangerous.
When you say get into cars, what do you mean?
There's something that you can do where you can meet someone in a car and then have the time in the car. as opposed to going to a house
Gotcha.
or an apartment or a hotel room.
Like married men and stuff would probably...
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
God, this is the thing. Like, that's why it's like all walks of life, like, come to you. Do you know what I'm saying? But at that point, at the start, that was a very low level end of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, because we was charging like hundreds. Like, whereas when I was in the adult industry, I could charge thousands. You know. And even that again, like, I don't think there's any difference between selling yourself for a tenner or selling yourself for 10 grand. Like, at the end of the day, you're selling something that you shouldn't really just be selling. Your body is your vessel and it is meant to be nurtured. I don't think that throwing it around like that's very good.
So some people have said that there's certain sections of society are more deviant, like judges, cops, politicians. Through your life experience, did you ever come away with that impression?
When through my life experience in regards to like what happened later in life, yeah, police definitely. I think there's a big problem, and you know what, like, I know there's good police officers out there because I had one as well during my my court case. She was amazing, but I think what that is the dangerous thing. Like, when we have people in positions of power that abuse their positions of power, the police. As the things that I can only say I know 100% because I've been there. Like, whereas like the clients I had, I didn't know. One of them though was linked to politicians, and like he was a bit fruity, but he was weird though. He liked to be caned and shit. So I don't know. Like, it's like, I think when you get into them top echelons of society, babe, believe it or not, like the adult industry is probably catered for them. Like, that's why it's still there, because you can just ring up a girl and get them to come round for whatever you want, you know.
Anything weirder than canings was requested of you?
Okay, I'll tell you. So basically when after what happened to me, what we're going to talk about in a minute, I took a route of domination. So
Okay.
I think after what happened
Should we wait until we get to that in the story then?
if you want to.
Yeah, go. Let's go next then. So you're just finishing the movie stuff.
Yeah.
Let's go on to what happens next.
Okay, so 3 years in the adult industry, and that was when, I mean, it was already dark anyway, but I guess this is where it gets really dark. And I always want to apologise because I try every time to keep my composure, but I can't, because I take myself there just to let people understand the severity of it. So when I was 21, that's when I got introduced to a man by the same girl that groomed me. And that man, 3 years of my life he took from me. And I guess when I first met him, I didn't know that. I got introduced to him from the girl as a gangster, someone who's going to change our lives, someone who was going to give us everything that we've ever wanted, someone that she had been praying for apparently for a long time, and she'd already met him first. So when she met him first, he had promised her own escort agency because that's what she wanted. Shock. She wanted to call it Madam Woo, and she was gonna have this escort agency, and that's what he promised her if she hit targets and brought people on. And at first, when she come round to my house in London, and like, because I was like, oh yeah, you can work from here, but then I realised like she was doing stuff that we used to do, like with the bareback and stuff. I was like, nah, I don't want that in my yard. And then she started to try to tell me about this guy. At first, I was like, he's a dickhead, mate. I was like, leave it out. I don't want nothing to do with him. And she just kept persisting with it and persisting. And then I was like, right, okay, I'll meet him. And then when I met him, that was... I don't think I could have fucking got away if I wanted to. He had an agenda. He knew what he wanted to do. And he'd already been prepped for me as well. So he knew that I was a coke addict. He knew I was in the adult industry. He knew about my family. She had prepped him on everything. And this man had a really good way with getting information out of people. And he got enough of information out of her for me that he could. And I didn't know that. And she told me that he had turned up at her house with an entourage of people. So obviously then, when she's telling me this, I'm like, oh my God, he's got bare security. He must be like a big guy. But my guy turns up by himself, yeah. So I should have noticed that, but I didn't, because I trusted this girl implicitly. And that was when I listened to what she said, and he fed me the fucking spiel. He would use the same process, the same grooming process, befriended me, like told me, because what my plan was with him was to set up a production company. So I was saying to you before, if I would have knew how to do that, I would have set my own website up, I would have done it properly, and that's what I wanted to show the girls to do. And basically be the one who created the websites for them and was like, then now this is your website, and like that kind of thing. And he sold it to me. He was like, we had meetings with the Sunday Sport. Like, we went and got flyers made up for the casting like thing that we was doing. We went to places in Birmingham where we was going to start shooting. And the first 6 months, like, obviously, like, I didn't realise, like, I was getting groomed. Like, and he was like, you know, I guess the first 6 months, they were nowhere near as bad as the next 2.5 years. But the first 6 months I was, just a bit of a slap. I was made to get targets, so I had to get targets every single week. And these targets were for the production company at first, what I thought. So I was there going every way, working Monday to Friday. When I say working, I was selling myself. And I didn't realise that I was being trafficked. And I was willingly just fucking handing my money over to this guy, because he said that we was going to make this whole thing happen. And I had this girl next to me who was like, yeah, this is really going to happen. And then the isolation, yeah. And it's mad because I'm just so grateful that this has happened the way it has, because believe it or not, like, I have witnesses to every part of my life, like my school friends, like being in the adult industry, and this part now. And the first 6 months, even one of my best friends, she come at the start, and luckily she was there at the end as well to see exactly who he was. But at the start, she was trying to tell me about him. She was like, are you okay? But this was my best friend, and she'd been sectioned, and he knew that. And that's how he was very mentally manipulative. So yeah, he fucking befriended her as well. But anyway, like, this is when, like, the isolation started with me. So, like, in the 6 months, I found out that this girl that had groomed me, she was paying her bills from my bank account. She actually had a sister I didn't know about. And I was like, who the fuck is this girl? Like, I've known this girl since I was 16, and, like, I've never knew any of this. And he told me, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, is this true? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, you are a piss taker, mate. So obviously, loyal-ish, bam, straight to him. Again, my man had an agenda. He had an agenda, and he fucking knew. And he fucking seen pound signs with me. I was such a fucking prestige person in that industry that he fucking knew I could get money for him, babe, and I did. So, the first 6 months, yeah, a bit of a sleep deprivation, bit of a slap, forcing me to go down on him. Because at first, like, I thought it was normal. Like, so he was like, oh, sort me out. So I was like, oh, okay, like, and I thought it was normal to be a sex object. But then, there was I was like, I didn't want to do it. And I was like, oh, do I have to? Bam, slap, first slap. And I was like, whoa, I'd never been abused before, babe. Like, I'd never, ever been through, like, I never had a domestic relationship, I'd never seen what happened with my mum and dad. I'd never seen that. So it was like a proper reaction. And then I just remember the first time I'd said that I didn't want to, and then he made me do it. And then that was when, like, he just started, like, hitting me when I was there. And I just remember, like, just thinking that this was my life now. Like, and I remember going home every weekend and telling my parents how amazing this man was.
Oh, God.
And I was telling them that he was my friend and he was helping me. And, yeah, then within the 6 months, the girl left as well, my so-called best friend. And that's when he disclosed himself as a member of the Illuminati. And that's when shit got so dark, like, it's just,
How did he disclose that? What did he actually say?
He basically said to me at first, he was like, have you ever heard of the Illuminati? And I was just like, no. Like, I didn't even know what it was, babe. Like, I don't fucking know about any of that stuff. Do you know, like I said, I was in my Dixie word, £5, I'm the best. Like, so I didn't know about cults. Like, I didn't know about Satanism. Like, I didn't know about any of that. Like, and he was like, just saying stuff like, oh, the Illuminati, you ever heard of it? I was just like, no. And then he started saying, well, I'm a member of it, and we control the world, and I am Satan. And that was when all hell broke loose. That was when he fucking... the constant rape and torture and sleep deprivation. And I just... sometimes he was just drilling my head with shit like... bestiality, like, and paedophilia. Like, he used to tell, one of the worst things he said to me was that, you know, like, he was forcing me to go down on him once, and he said to me, like, one of the best blowjobs he'd had was off a 5-year-old, and what? After that, he slit her throat.
Oh my God.
Babe, honestly, this man, and he was constantly drilling shit like that into my head, like, you know, making out like that paedophilia was normal. And then saying that, like, he was gonna, like, if I fucked up, he'd get a dog, like, to, like, fuck me and stuff. Like, and I was shitting myself, like, I just thought he was this man. And then, like, obviously, like, he'd keep us up for days, so it wasn't just me that was there. There was about 30 girls that went and gone, and, like, some of them were fucking close to me, and they were my best friends, like, and he turned us all on each other, babe. That's what he'd do.
Where were you living at this point?
So basically, at first, so he made me move to Birmingham because he was like, show me your loyalty, show me how real you are. You know what I mean? They test you. This is what he used to say to me. I'm testing you at all times, Sam. And oh my God, like, the mind fuck, right? So I always say the only way I can describe this man is Darren Browne, but an evil version, because my man was smart as fuck, babe. Like, he knew about body language, he knew about neuro-linguistic programming, he knew about how to use language, he knew about all of this mind control stuff, babe. Like, the mind control was so real. Like, he used weird techniques on us where so basically what they do in cults is they try to disassociate you from your right side of your brain so that you don't have emotion, and all, like, these weird things he'd do. Like, he'd, like, have us, like, kneel in front of him, and he'd be touching the side of our head, and he'd be like, you can feel it inside. So they want you to disassociate from this side, and it's only when I've looked into cults, like, that this is what they do. And it wasn't just that.
So there was 30 women he was doing this on at the same time?
On and off. So there was always... I was probably... Throughout the 3 years, I was probably alone about 2 or 3 months, you know, like, in between. But there was always girls coming and going, like, do you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, he would, like, again, like... I had Stockholm syndrome because I genuinely kept saying to everyone who I met, this guy's protecting me, he's looking after me, like, he's my friend, like, he's my agent, like, saying all of this shit because he had drilled me into it. And yeah, bloody hell, like, I just remember, like, one night, like, just being up for, like, 5 nights, and I was like, I just used to think, like, when's it going to end? And I was with someone else who was there, and he was, like, punching me and then punching her, and if any of us flinched, then he'd punch the other one even harder. And then he was like, I'm doing this in the name of Lucifer, like, and this is what...
Holy shit.
Babe, honestly, like, the guy is fucking... Honestly, I can't even explain, and... This is why
What was the environment like he was doing this
when we was there? So it was always an apartment. So
it was an apartment building.
Yeah. So I was in Birmingham, and at first, like, he was like, "Oh, move to Birmingham and get a place where you think I'll like." So I picked a fucking pimp pad, didn't I? I picked, like, a penthouse apartment up at the top of New Street, and it was a fucking tack town. Like there was fur on the fucking walls and everything. I was just, but in my head, I got what I thought he wanted. So in my head, I must have thought he was a pimp, and I didn't even know, because I'm buying things like Snoop Dogg, do you know what I mean? Like, with all the fur and all the mad colours. But anyway, after the 6 months, like, when he disclosed himself, I was made to live out of a suitcase. So you
had your own room in there.
So basically what happened was, like, I was living out of a suitcase, and I had to travel to work in different apartments, and that was my basis. Like, I didn't have a base. Like,
gotcha.
For about 2 years, like, I was just in a suitcase going from place to place, sometimes 7 days a week. selling myself. I would have rather worked 7 days a week than see him, you know, because sometimes I had to see him to give him his money.
Well, how much money are we talking about?
Sometimes $5,000 a week.
Fucking hell.
Like, so if you think how many people I had to fucking just degrade myself to, like, sometimes I had to degrade myself to £50 an hour bareback to make sure I could get his money, because if I didn't get his money, like, I never not got the money, Shaun, because if I didn't, like, you know, there was consequences anyway. Like, I didn't fucking know whether I was coming or going. Like, one minute he was really nice to me, and then next minute he'd be boxing me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what was happening. So I think it progressively got worse as he disclosed himself, like, as a member of this Illuminati. And, you know, as the time went on, this is what I'm saying, like, he wasn't just trafficking me, he was trafficking minors as well.
How do you know that?
Because when I went to court, he got done for trafficking me and one of the minors.
Okay.
So
you found that out in court later on?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was there, babe. Like, I was there when it was happening, and this is why I was part of that, taking this all, like, exposing it all to him. But this is the thing,
so
though.
You
like,
saw him do something with minors? Then,
Yeah.
How did he obtain minors?
So, he would use his resources, like, so he would use, like, me, like, to like be like, oh, you know, I was like, oh no, he's our friend, like, do you know what I mean? Like, he would use me, and then any other girls that he'd bring on would be saying the same shit as I would. So it was be like, he could easily manipulate anyone.
It's like the Maxwell role.
Massively, babe. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, and with this young girl, bless her, like, I remember him saying to her, oh, we're gonna get you a teen scene magazine. That was her thing. Do you know what I mean? He would always promise people what they wanted, so that again, it's moth to a fake flame. It's bullshit. And as I've looked into the Illuminati, they do this a lot. They promise people the world and then make them do what the fuck they want them to do. And there was no difference with us. We were just on a lower level scale of it. You know, this guy rolled like these cults, like, he just the things that he did. And honestly, like, when he would, like, fucking go into that state, babe, like, he would say that he was channeling these demons and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I remember, like, just, you know, him always saying things like, what's evil backwards? It's live. Who do you think you've lived for? The devil. Like, you know, because it was backwards. And I'm just like, are you fucking mad? Like, honestly, like, he's a psychopath. And that's why it's like, it's so important that I have to say this, because this man is fucking walking the streets now. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, these people are in our crevices. So for them 3 years, babe, like, I can't even explain, like, the nights, like, just it was just constant. Sometimes I would just be like, how evil does someone have to be? Like, he was fucking pissing my mouth and maybe drinking, man.
Oh my God.
I just fucking degraded myself so much. I know, babe. Like, he just fucking did so much shit to me, and he would just, like, I was just such an object, babe. Do you know what I mean? Neil, stand. Like, he used to make me text him his registration numbers of the taxis I was in. I had a burner phone. If I didn't answer that burner phone, like, fucking hell, even I learnt that the hard way. I answered that phone because when I missed it once, fucking hell, like, and I was working for him, like, so even then, like, when the phone rang, I'd jump out of this, like, with a client, and I'd fucking go, because I was like, I cannot not risk that happening again. Man, nearly snapped my jaw, like, honestly, like. And this is the thing, like, it's like, I say it's good, but it's not. But I'm just glad that there was other people there, because even to the extent, so when he disclosed himself as a member of the Illuminati, babe, something really weird happened to us. And I was with someone at the time, and that's why I'm so glad they were there, because he had beaten me up in front of another girl. And then we went home. I went home, and that person come with me. And then when I went home, I was sat there and I was in a daze, and I just remember watching the TV and something popped up, And I said to the girl, I was like, babe, I was like, 1 minute. I was like, did you see that? And she was like, yeah. She was like, what is it? So we rewinded it because we had like this Sky Plus thing where you can rewind it. And honestly, I shit you not, yeah, Shaun, like something come up and it said on there that we was a member of the Illuminati. We had now been initiated and all this shit. Like there was like a screen on our TV. So it was like a screen that had popped up. So honestly, like, so ever since then, I have looked into this, and this is on, like, people have videoed this on YouTube, apparently on Comedy Central. Some of these things come up every now and then. They're like slides, and I can only imagine that they're subliminal messages because with this man, when he started to disclose himself, he told us about the subliminal messages that they used. He made us look up about mind control. He was making us look up about this stuff. He made us listen to like Rihanna and Beyonce backwards. Like, do you know what I mean? So he was like, look at how we work, like gloating about it, babe. Like he was saying to me that he had friends in high places. He was like, I'm one of the nice ones. Like I only met one of his mates and 2 drivers. Do you know what I mean? And nothing ever happened to me. But I know I've spoken to the other survivors. He's tried to get them to kill people. He has taken them to places where they've had to fucking put their ass out of windows and they fucking exploited the girl for the window. Like, it's like, this man, honestly, I actually can't. And that's why I'm saying, like, it's like, it wasn't just me. There was, this is real people's lives that are getting affected by people like this. And, yeah, I you know, I said to you before, like, I got branded, with 666 on my finger. Like, he told me I had to get this tattoo made and I had to get it done on this finger and I had to go at this date. Do you know what I mean? Like, fucking weirdo. Like, and also, like, there's weird other things as well where he made me watch the Olympics. Like, it's like, you know, 2012, there was an Olympic ceremony and that was the only time he told me that I can't work, which is very strange. Like, it's so weird. And like, when I've looked back at it now, I'm not even joking. Like, I don't care what people say. Like, it looked like a ritual to me, babe. Like, there was a witch there. Like, there was like this Industrial Revolution thing there. Like, and I remember him ringing me after, specifically going, what did you think about it? Did you like it? And I'm just like, yeah. You know what I mean? I'm fucking like, yeah. It's fucking amazing. Like, and then I was like, what the fuck was that about? Like, do you know what I mean? But now I'm just like, how deep does this go? Like,
did he do rituals in the apartment?
Yeah, weird stuff. Like, so basically, like I said, the head thing he would do, but there was a weird thing that he did to me once after I'd got my tattoo. And he started speaking like voodoo shit. So first, like this was weird because he was nice to me when he was doing this weird thing, and he basically like was speaking in tongue, and then he told me to sit there, and then he blew in my mouth, like blew air in my mouth after we'd done this tongue stuff. But then that night was like one of the worst nights ever. Like, that was when like he put a knife to me, and that was one of the nights that I just thought I should kill myself because I didn't want to fucking be there anymore. So I don't really know. Like, I think maybe a lot of it from, like, you know, the ritualistic thing, like when, you know, he would be forcing me to go down on him, and he would be drilling me with that paedophilia stuff. Like, I don't know if that's a kind of ritual, but I think the weirdest thing was when he used to do that to our heads and make us like kneel in front of him, and he just used to be constantly like talking about our heads, and then the tongue thing. That was really weird.
What do you mean drilling you with paedophilia stuff?
So like, he would tell us that he was a paedophile and that it was normal like to be a paedophile, and that like that I told you about like the 5-year-old and stuff, but just and it was weird because it was kind of like he was trying to make me accept paedophilia, but I was like no, like I was like, at the time I liked fucking guys. I mean, I've always liked girls anyway, but at the time I was like, nah, I like my big bodies. Like, do you know what I mean? My boyfriends were big massive guys. I was like, no, I don't think so. Like, but like, it was like he was trying to condition me to think that things like bestiality, incest, a paedophilia was normal. And then when I'm actually looking into these cults, babe, they are weird like that. Like, they think that this shit is normal. And I'm just like, who is this man? Like, honestly, and I don't care anyway. Like, even if he was or he wasn't a member of the Illuminati, he was fucking rolling like one. So I think people need to stop denying that these cults exist, because like, if there is a man like him around, if there's fucking 2 of them, we're fucked, because him alone is too dangerous for this world. Like, people shouldn't be like him. Pure narcissist, pure sociopath and psychopath. He was getting off on when we was in pain. Do you know what I mean? And that takes a special kind of fucked up person to do that. And And just everything, like the abuse that he did to the girls. Like, it was always girls as well, babe. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, like, women and girls, like, and like, so his type was like vulnerable young girls, single mums, or girls off the street. So this is why, please, everyone who's watching this, please never judge a homeless person, because the way that he's seen them as scumbags, and he treated them like scumbags. And these poor girls, they were always heroin addicts, and he would bring them, he'd give me the drugs and then make me get the money off them. But like when we was away working, I used to sit there with them, and honestly, they've been through the worst abuse, like as children, like being raped by their dads, and being made to do child rape videos, like, and these women that he would bring, he would be like, he would make them do this thing called a rattle in front of me, like, so where they would decompose, because when you have heroin, like, it's so addictive that it goes into your whole body, do you know what I mean? But when your body can decompose after, and that's what he was doing to them. And now I realise he was just showing them that he was controlling them, and then they would basically be loving him, because when he'd give them the gear, they'd be like, oh my God, like, you saved me, when really they weren't. He put them in that position in the first place. So these poor fucking girls, sometimes they were shitting themselves in front of me, like, I just can't cope with this man, like, and the depths of, like, so it's mad, because 3 years I was there, and when I was there, there was an array of people, that went and gone, and there was one girl that tried to save me, and at the time I wasn't even ready, because you have to be ready to save yourself, babe. This is very real about mind control and Stockholm syndrome. Like, anyone who's been in things like domestic relationships or narcissistic friends, like, they know that it's hard to get away from that situation and that relationship, because you have, I guess, lowered your worth to think that this is your life, this is what is accepting, and it's sad that it has to get to that point. But that's why I preach so much about self-worth now, because if you don't put your worth on you, someone else will. And at the time, like I say, that girl who went, she then put in a police inquest, and from the police, it was about 1.5 years, I was still there, and for the 1.5 years, she had, bless her, been trying so hard to get the police to listen to her. And
what was her story then?
So she was actually the minor in it, and so when she got away, because what he would do was, he would always tell us that we could get away with money. So he'd be like, oh, if you give me 15 grand, I'll let you go. Give me 20 grand, I'll let you go. And this girl was given this opportunity at the time.
How old was she when he started with her?
I think she was 16, I believe. Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. This is how I know for sure, and this is why his name is linked directly to us too. And with that, this is how people need to understand, like, that it's not just women, like, this is children, like, as well. It's the biggest thing. So she put in a police inquest anyway, and for 1.5 years while she was there, she was messaging me, trying to tell me about stuff, because what he would do is, because he part us, no one had known what was happening, so he was doing things to this girl that I didn't even know about, do you know what I mean? And then blaming me for it, so that then she took it out on me, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? We were always being played off. Yes, yeah. Always. We were the problem, never him. And so she started this inquest, bless her. And
so hold on a sec. So she was 16 then.
Yeah.
She saved up money to buy her release.
No, she said no, and I thought she was a mentalist. So basically, she'd got a girlfriend, in this time. Like, this is what it was mad, because then he started pimping out the girlfriend as well. It's proper fucked up. But then she seen a way out. So when she seen the way out, like, she was gone.
After how many years did it take from 16 to
I think she
seeing
was there
the way
for
out?
a year.
She
was she was there for about a year. Yeah, because I think she was just turned 18, really, when she left. So, yeah. Because he met her when she was just about to turn 17. She was like 16.
And what was, like, her wake-up call to get the fuck out?
I think it was the girlfriend, mate. Like, I'll be honest with you, because
The girlfriend talked sense into her.
Yeah, and I think that from that situation, like, when you start to get someone who can... Don't get it twisted, like, she wasn't the best person anyway, because, like, apparently, like, they're like, it was quite toxic, like, with them too. And you can imagine being in that situation, then it would be.
But it's like an outsider looking in,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, and I guess when she come, that's when the same thing that happened with me with Ma, like, you start to question the narrative, and because you're actually getting a bit of affection, like when this guy's telling you that, you know, he was telling us that he loved us and cared about us, by the way, like, that while he was doing all this stuff. So I guess when you can start to see, like, what affection is, when it's really meant to be like that, like, that's when you can start to question things. And yeah, and I think that's when, because I remember being sat there and he was like, give me 15 grand and you can go. And she was like, no, I'm okay. And he was like, okay, you don't want protection then? And she was like, no. And I was like, this girl's a mentalist, mate. But I think, I don't know if she was thinking in her head that she was ready to go to the police anyway, like, or like, but this girl, like, I honour her, like, without her bravery, like, we never would have got to where we was. And bless her, like, she tried so much to try and, like, you know, get me out at that point. Like, when she went to the police, this is how I know there's corrupt police, because she was met with adversity. Like, she wasn't treated like a victim. Like, the first police lady that interviewed her, like, honestly, one of the most bad-minded person in ever, because she was like, did that really happen? Are you sure? Like, you hear her yawn on her frigging interview where this poor girl's there for like 5 hours speaking about the things I'm speaking about now in as much detail as she possibly can. And this lady just dismisses her, like, literally dismisses her as like, right, okay, yeah, of course, yeah, the kind of thing. And I'm like, the fuck? Like, where's your compassion? Like, especially as a woman, it baffled me.
Well, that's one of the things we said on this channel. I think I saw a TED Talk where they showed pictures of kids who had gone missing. And all the audience was like, oh, how can we help these girls, you know? Then they showed like a load of mugshots of women, 20s, 30s, been in sex work, hardcore drug use.
Yeah.
They'd been, you know, robbing and hustling and doing all kinds. And the audience were repulsed by them.
I know, babe.
And then she said,
that's the kids.
these are the same ones.
That's exactly.
But that's the attitude of the police, isn't it? This person's like a sex worker, drug addict.
Exactly, and that's
who gives a shit.
That's what he said, babe. That's exactly.
That's how the traffickers get away with it.
Thank you, babe. And this is exactly what he used to say. He'd be like, do you think anyone's going to believe you? You and a bunch of crackheads. He's like, are you joking? This is exactly what he used to say to me. And he used to say about all the things that they get away with because people don't believe in them and they think that it's a conspiracy theory and all this. And I'm just like, honestly, this is why I'm trying so hard to get out the knowledge that I know, because I'm just like, this fucking man, he's a real person. Like, and I don't care about anything else apart from fucking saving the kids now. So I'm just thinking, if I can stop one person, luckily I'm going for the millions, mate, but one person from going through this by the information that I've got, at least then, you know, we can hopefully live in a brighter world, because I just want to shine the light on this darkness, mate. Because so for 1.5 years, I was there after, and in that time the police inquest had started, and yeah, bless this girl, she was there like trying her hardest. And
did he clock on what she was doing?
Yeah, and basically he didn't know about the police, I don't think. Well, he said he did, but I don't know, he chatted a lot of shit as well, so I think that he probably maybe worked that out because of like her. So she was messaging me, and then obviously he had to have access to everything of mine. Like, I couldn't have access to anything by myself, like, especially when it come through like Adult Work and stuff, because that's the site that I was pimped out from. So again, guys, be careful where you're shopping. But like with Adult Work, she was emailing me through there, bless her, and she was trying to tell me what he was doing to her, like regards because she had experienced the urine and some of the more extreme stuff that I had earlier than me. So she was trying to warn me on this email, and that was it. Then I wasn't allowed to speak to her. Cut her off. Don't speak to her. No. Block anything. And if I find out, you know, you're going to die, kind of thing. So I had to cut her off. I had to cut off basically any kind of communication with her. And obviously, like, if he would have found out, like, I just didn't want to risk it. Do you know what I mean? So as this 1.5 years went on, you know, the like I say, it was just consistent. And then this other lady come. So, you know, like I said to you, like single mums. So this lady was a single mum, and he got her from Adult Work. So he got this girl, and she was already aware of cults. And it was mad because we called her Angel. Like, so when we called her Angel, like, she then started saying that she knew about the Illuminati and she seen my branding. And she didn't tell me at the time. She just stayed. And I think she stayed for, like a good maybe 6-7 months she stayed. And she was just trying really hard to help me. She was the first person to tell me what he was saying. So it was weird because, like, the loyalty wasn't with him that time. Her loyalty was with me, and she was telling me, she was very into the Bible, like, and stuff, and she was telling me just about certain things. I guess regards the book and how it kind of can resemble people who are dark in this world. She was trying to help me, do you know what I mean, babe? She wasn't pushing her religion on me. She was just trying to show that sometimes the darkness can come and sometimes it comes in people. She was just trying to plant seeds, bless her. And then when she left, that's when my ears pricked up, because she had rang me and she was like, "Oh, so you're robbing the money then, Sam?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "So Steve's told me that you're taking the money." And I was like, "Well, that's not true." And that, I guess, was the breaking of the seal, because that's when I started to think for myself. And I guess the spell was starting to break. And I started to question what he, like, about it. I was like, why has he said that? And obviously, like, I told him, and it was the same malarkey again. If I speak to her, he'll snap my jaw, all this kind of stuff. But for the first time, I disobeyed him, and I fucking stayed in touch with her. And it wasn't like I was messaging her every day. It was just I just stayed in touch with her because I really loved her kids as well. And I just, I guess I had a friend, which was nice because I didn't have any. After that was when I guess things started to get a little bit better, because I met the love of my life. Because one year I was allowed out for my birthday, the last year, and in that time it was mad. I didn't meet her first. I met her friend, who was a cretin as well. But luckily she brought me Ma, and Mara broke the seal massively, because there was nothing he could do. He couldn't get her involved in being pimped, because she wasn't working at Mackey's. She was first class degree student doing animation. Do you know what I mean? Like, she was a good kid, and I don't know how she fell in love with me, because I was a fucking mess. I was like about 8 stone, because obviously I'm like 5'10", so I was all skin and bones. You could see my ribs, and even still now you can still see a bit of scars on my arms. But I literally picked my arms so much from the drugs, just like I guess a crackhead. I was there all the time, and I was just always jittering and stuff, because my PTSD was so it was fucking so mad. Like, I didn't realise that I had it. I just was just constantly in it, and it was mad, because that's when Mara started picking up on it, because she would say something. I was like, "Oh my God, sorry, it's not done. And she's like, "Sam, it's all right, calm down." And I was just like, she was like, "What do you mean?" Like, and then she started asking about Steve, and she was like, is Sam, what are you doing with him? Like, who is he? And I told her again the same spiel, and bless her, she stayed with me, like, even when I was getting pimped out. Like, we was having a relationship through Skype. And then the little dickhead, like, turned around and was like, "I tell you what, we're going to let you stop brassing now." Made it really cute, apparently, on Valentine's Day. I stopped brassing. However, I was still made to give the targets. But I went from like $5,000 a week to $2,000 a month. And it was from webcam. So again, guys, got to be careful, because you don't know what you're actually spending your money on. But believe it or not, it was hard for me to get that money, because I had at the time her friends sponging off me, like living in my house rent free, and I had to pay the bills, and I had to also give him $2,000, and he left me with a $5,000 coke bill that I had to pay off. So I started to get the pressure then, because it was like I wasn't brassing. I didn't want to. I wanted to be with Ma, you know what I mean? Like, for once, I just wanted someone to, like, have my body for them and, like, you know, belong to someone, I guess. I just really wanted that. I'd never had it in my life. And, yeah, so the webcam... But it started to build up really quick because I couldn't make the money as easy. And I messaged my dad, and that was when I asked my dad for money, I realised that it would get bad. Like, I started to, you know, thinking, oh shit, I need to start getting out loans and stuff, even though I was already fucking in about 15 grand's worth of debt. And then Mara was the one that said, Sam, ask him why you're giving him money. And I was like, fuck off, babe. I was like, nah, that ain't happening. I was like, I have to, I was like, I have to protect my family. I was like, I have to pay this money. And she was like, why are you paying it though? Like, if you're like, why? And I was just like, well, 1 minute, you said I needed protecting from when I went out working, and I'm not going out working anymore. So why? So I guess I put on my big boy pants, and I remember just it's mad. I wasn't ever allowed to call him, so I had to call Pete, who then called him to call me. And he called me in seconds, mate, like, because he knew I was a bitch that knew her place. I was not someone who rang ever, like. And then I remember when he was on the phone, and he was like, is everything okay? Everything okay? Like, you know what I mean? And I said, I've got to ask you a question. And I think that's when he knew, because I wasn't allowed to ask questions. And I, for the first time, said, I want to ask you a question. And he was like, all right, okay, go on then. And I was like, why am I giving you money? And his words were, I tell you what, I just want you to know I've done everything for you. Everything's been for you. So because how these Illuminati people roll, apparently, if it's good or bad, they made it happen. So he made Mara happen because I deserved it, apparently. Bullshit. He would have fucking had me to the end of my life expectancy of 7 years if he could have. Because that's what a human trafficking survivor lasts is. And I can understand why. 7 years just from being just under that. And yeah, I asked him. And that's when he was just said, let's call it quits.
Wow.
That's all he said. Like, and I was like, no, I panicked. I was like, no. I was like, listen, I if you need the money, I will give it to you. I said, I just want my family to be protected. And he was like, no, don't worry. They're all safe. Everything's okay. And everything I've done for you. And I was like... It was like this weight had just lifted off my shoulders, and I was like, holy fuck. Like, that was it. Then I could fucking start thinking for myself. I was obviously still addicted to drugs, like, but if you think for the whole 3 years, like, I'd been giving someone $2,000 a minimum a week. I was like, what the fuck? So I guess I got my freedom and I went a bit wild. And I, 2 weeks later, got a police letter through the door. And obviously I had shit myself at this point, babe, because he told me that the reason... so he told me that he had shot his son for grassing to the police on who he was. Yeah, this is right at the start, so that we never ever told the police. And when I seen that police card, I genuinely thought it was him. And I was like, nah, fuck that. Nope. And I messaged Angel, who was the girl that broke the seal, and I messaged her and I shown her the picture of the card. I was like, is that real? Is it the real police card? And she was like, yeah, it is. And it said there that they need to contact me, regards Steve. And I was like, fuck. I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, no, don't want nothing to do with it. And then the girl that had started the inquest 1.5 years before had messaged me and was like, Sam, it's me. I need you to step up. I've been doing this for the last 1.5 years. Please come. So I rounded the troops up, got a few people together. One of the girls that he trafficked, one of my best friends who was involved, and Mara, and she brought 2 girls as well, the other girl. And yeah, we got him put in prison, and he got found guilty of trafficking me in the mine. He didn't get found guilty of the rape because apparently you need it to be like DNA swab kind of thing, like, and no one really gets found guilty of a rape, like, because who the fuck's going to go swab themselves after that, you know? So, yeah, and as much as we got him put in prison, which really helps the case in regards to people understanding how real this is, what didn't help was that he only got 8.5 years and got out in 4 years on good behaviour. Because how the fuck, babe? Like, my friend, she got done for a text message and got 2 years in prison. She had to serve that time. And she got half a sentence for a text message. And he is the man that I've just explained to you, like, you know, and... But either way, like, we had a good judge. He he basically cautioned the police lady. Luckily, she's not working anymore, but he cautioned her. And then, the police lady, Katrina, sounds like she's amazing. Like, she is honestly one of the best police ladies. Like, I'm so grateful for her, you know. And so, after, when we got him put in prison, like, but leading up to that, I was still involved in the industry, you know. I didn't know any different. I even did a show on BBC Three, mate, about webcamming. And the thing was, like, if you see me on that video, like, you can see me break down on that video. It's mad. But yeah, I didn't know what else to do. So I kept webcamming, and, you know, even went and escorted again, because I didn't know how to get money, babe. Like, it wasn't in my head. The only job I'd had was at Home Bargains before that, so I had no clue. And I was used to this money, so the hell to the no was I gonna be going to go back to Home Bargains anyway. So something happened though, like, I guess starting to break from that spell of being a sex object. It got more degrading to me in my head about the webcam, and it felt worse. And that's when I went into the domination stuff, what you were saying about it's so funny. I smile now because it's fucking hilarious, because I guess I kind of took that pack because I fucking hated guys, you know what I mean? After it, I was like, fuck them all, like, kill them, like.
Are you gonna get it now?
I was like, you have no idea what's coming, mate. Honestly, so yeah, I went from the escort and I started doing doming. But then I got a conscience, mate, and I realised kicking these guys in the balls and pissing on them really wasn't my style, do you know what I mean? Because it was just a bit freaky, mate, like, and, you know, these people exist as well, that, you know, each to their own. If you're not hurting anyone, do you know what I mean, dress up like a dog and bark down the road, each to their own. But you asked about the weirdest thing, and honestly, some of these guys that I've done domination on, babe, like the hooking and, like, you know, just...
Hooking?
Yeah, they
What's
like
that
their
mean?
skin hooked, babe.
Oh, put on hooks?
Like, put on hooks, babe. Like, honestly, like, it's mad. And then, like, I think that was the thing that stopped me, though, because when there was the blood, I was like, nah, I can't do this shit no more. Like, but they genuinely love it. Like, they have, like, people that are obsessed with feet, you know, and because I was black, believe it or not, they have this weird thing where they worship black people. And in the adult industry, like, there's this thing called BBC, and it means... big black dick, and basically there's guys that are called cuckolds, and they want to be their bitch, basically, and sort them out. Like, honestly, babe, like, it's fruity.
Hold on, slow down. What does the cuckold do?
So a cuckold is, it makes me so happy that you know none of this stuff. So basically, like, a cuckold is someone.
I thought I knew a lot.
Oh no, this is gonna, honestly, like, this is definitely not a PG interview, mate. But, like, fucking, what they do is they like to have someone ejaculate in a woman, a big black man, and then they like to clean it up after. Oh, your face.
Hold on. Someone pays...
Yeah, a lot.
...for a black guy to ejaculate inside a woman, and then the person who's paying cleans it up. What do you mean by clean it up?
Clean it up, babe. Clean it out.
Like...
yeah. They, honestly, and they love it, and they're fucking crazy.
So that person's got that other person's jizz in their mouth.
Yeah, and they beg for it, babe.
They beg for it.
They beg for it. So, like, obviously,
oh
like,
my God.
They literally beg for it, babe. Like, it's mad. It's so mad. And I've never really, like, I like spoke a lot about the doming stuff, babe. Do you know what I mean? Like I've never really gone into that kind of stuff because like really with my story, but I guess that was like the funny part of my story because mate, I just remember like being like, mate, I need to fucking kick some balls, mate, because I hate these guys right now. But then I got a conscience because I started to get into financial domination, and that's when
What does that mean?
That's when guys pay your life, basically.
Pay for your life?
Yeah, so I send them a picture of my middle finger and then they buy my meal.
What?
I just opened your world up now, and I bet you're gonna start getting.
You
all
just send a picture of that, and then they send you money.
I send them that. So I basically, I send them that, and I tell them that they're like dirty pigs and stuff, and I tell them to like sleep in with pins in their pants and stuff, and they do it, and then they send me money for doing it.
So you don't actually ever meet them?
No, I never met any of them. Like apart from like the doming stuff, but Findom, no. I had two slaves, and I never met any of them.
Findom slaves.
Findom slaves. They're called pay pigs, babe.
Pay pigs.
Yeah, and Dave was a good pay pig. He was. Slave Dave was sick, man. But then I got a conscience, and I was like, do you know what? I can't do this. Like, I actually can't do this. Because the guy lost his job and he still wanted to give me money, and then my conscience kicked in, and I was like, nah, mate, I can't.
So are these like incredibly wealthy people who are just throwing money at you as nothing to them, or are they like giving you their life savings and bankrupting themselves?
No, the guy was a teacher. Like he had good money. Like but then when he lost his job, but then that went to him wanting to do all that kind of stuff. But no, he was lovely, man. And I think that's when I started to realize I need to get out of this game. But what happened naturally was that I ended up just going shopping, and I met a charity fundraiser for something called Amnesty International, which is the biggest human rights organisation in the world. They stopped me. They were telling me about corruption in the government. So my ears pricked up. I was like, oh, I know about corruption. Maybe not in the government, but I know about corruption. Then they spoke to me about human rights. And that's when I was like, what are human rights? And I was like, oh my God, I had my human rights taken away from me. And I didn't know, because they're not teaching that in schools either, are they? And then they said they were stopping things like child marriage and FGM. And I was like, can you get me a job? Like, that's what I said. I was like, can you get me a job? They said it was £12 an hour. So I thought, you know what? It might not be the £50 an hour that I'm used to, but this really started to, I felt something in me, like I can't explain it. Like I think when you align with your purpose, like you feel like, and it kind of didn't care about the money either. I thought, fuck, I was like, you know, I could do this for free. Like I would want to stop kids from getting married for free. Like I want to stop people from having their human rights violated. And yeah, I ended up working for them, and I think that's when my life really started to turn, working for Amnesty International and fighting for people like Edward Snowden, and understanding about the fact we were helping refugees and Obama was dropping the bombs, and I just started to realise about all this stuff that they weren't teaching me, and, you know, meeting amazing people along the way who genuinely just wanted change. And then I started to volunteer to go into the schools to teach about human rights, and that's when I realised what I had to do, and I went into them schools, and I just fucking loved it. And that's when I knew, because I was doing it for free, that it was me. And I was like, wow, I was like, these kids, and they love me, like, because I'm not a teacher. I go in there with my snapback and my Jordans and all that. Mate, let me tell you, the teachers are teaching you what your granddad was learning, because they're told that. I was like, let me teach you something what you want to learn. And I interact with these young people, you know what I mean? And they're not dumb, man. They're so smart. And like,
they're getting it all off the internet, aren't they?
The information age. Honestly, Google how to make an egg. Well, not Google. DuckDuckGo. We like that one.
Well, I do drugs talks in schools, and the PSHE teachers are telling me, for the sex education, the kids' first sex education is what they see online, the porn.
I know, babe. I know. And you know, the youngest age of a child online is 7 years old. Like, what the fuck? And this is, again, like, so this is why. So when I went into the schools and stuff, I realised I had something where I could teach young people and they would listen. And I thought, you know what? Like, it's only because I was the naughty kid that I know how to keep them. Their attention. Do you know what I mean? Their attention span. And I started, in 2019, I started my first charity, which was Diamond You Projects. And it was a shame because we started to work with councils, we started to work with youth clubs, and we were planning to go into schools in 2020, and then what the fuck happened?
Pandemic.
Rona,
Stopped it.
mate, honestly, it stopped everything for me. I've luckily started to work now with a youth club, but doing it as Zoom. But I don't like that. Like, so I'm like, do you know what? Like,
being there in front of the audience and feeling the energy and everything, the responses.
They work so well. And also the things we talk about on my courses, where we talk about online and offline grooming, and I need to be there with them to make sure they're okay and that they're safeguarded. You know, I don't even want to do shit like that over stuff, over internet, because if they go off that and cry, like, and I haven't, you know, because usually when I used to go into the schools, this is why I was so adamant that I had to set up this organisation, because kids were disclosing themselves to me, and for a stranger to go in and just talk about, you know, for like what I was talking about, and for them to say that they'd have been abused at home or something was going on, I knew then and then. I was like, no. I was like, this has to get bigger. And then obviously Rona. But what I want to do now with Diamond Projects is, I always said Diamond Projects was for the UK. So, because we have a problem here with human trafficking, and I'm sick of people denying it. For some reason, they think it's like a Taken film. When I go into schools and I speak about it, they're like, oh, is it like that guy from Taken, miss? And I'm like, a little bit, but that does happen too. But no, like, it is actually like that you're coerced into this. Like, and that's when I think it's so important, because the online grooming, like things like Fortnite, TikTok, you have people on TikTok, babe, telling you how to be a sugar baby, saying, oh, like, honestly, like, what, that was not in my generation. Again, we're going to go back to the start of where I started, of saying this is why I'm so scared, because if we don't address these things now, how many more of my stories are going to be made? I don't want that. We need to cut the cycles of abuse off. So with Diamond Projects, this is my t-shirt that we created to create donations, because this year I really want to build a safe house for the kids in the UK. I started Stop Child Exploitation in 2020 because I got really excited, because I was like, oh, I want to help everyone. And I get like that a lot. You've probably picked that up already. So I was like, oh, I set up this second organisation where I'm going to go to Congo and do the same thing, build a safe house for the kids, 60 kids. But I really would just want to focus on Diamond Projects this year, because I think if I get that to where I want it to get to, we could get free therapy for the young people. We could get a safe house for the children. And then we could tackle the criminal justice system, because I want to help with the mental health with there as well. Might be a bit easier to get into prisons and school nowadays with the way things are going as well. But yeah, I think now, for the past 5 years, Shaun, I've dedicated my life. 5 years it's been since I've been sharing my story. Like I say, this man Steve is public domain. Like, people can look him up. If they look up the evil Pimp of Birmingham, they can find him online. The police, they outed him in the news. They then put me on the news in 2018 as a human trafficking survivor. And yeah, he got put in prison. So I guess for people living in the Matrix world, they can't deny or say that my life's a rabbit hole, or, you know, that my life's a theory and it's been debunked, because you can't say shit about that. And that's why it's sad, because, you know, it's because of the likes of Jeanette Archer that I'm sat here with you today. And if any, like, people will, because no one's been put in prison, what, you're going to deny that? Like, there's so many people out there that are trying to speak the truth, you know, like, you've had another lady on here, Annika Lucas, she's amazing, you know, and it's like, how many of us have to step up? So for the past 5 years, I have been dedicating my life now to this mission, mate. And for the past 4 years, I was sharing my story about human trafficking, got me to the Houses of Parliament for my activism work, you know what I mean? Like, I've been like I say, working for councils, and now, since the past year, I have exposed, I guess, about the darker side of things, because he got out of prison last year. That's why I did it. So they rang me, they said he's getting out of prison, and I'm not joking. Like, I started to have probably a mental breakdown in 2020, because I knew he was out, and I'm like, how is this justified? Because they've been censoring me a lot as well this year. They unlawfully arrested me when I told my story at Hyde Park. And
what was the grounds for the arrest?
They said that I was breaking COVID regulations, but you have to fine people for that. You can't arrest them. And they also said they'd send me a fine, but they haven't sent me no fine. So they know that they know.
Bullshit.
Exactly. That why would they do what they did? So basically that was horrible. But then they also took down my YouTube channel. I think I said that last time, didn't I? Which is funny because you probably said more than I have.
What was the basis for them taking your YouTube channel down?
So it was because I'd made a harassment video of Jeffrey Epstein. It was that specific video.
Did you just wake up one day and your channel was gone?
Yeah. No. First, they took my story down off my channel.
Oh, your own story.
Yeah. So
Okay.
when he got out in April last year, that was when I had, I guess, verbal diarrhea, had a word with the highest. And because I was having a mental breakdown and I was going to go back to drugs, I was like, please, can you help me? Like, just having a word with the highest. Like, I'm very spiritual. Like, I believe that there's something bigger than us. Some people call it God. I call it God, but I'm not religious, but I'm not stupid either. Like, I know that there's something. And I had a word and I was like, I just didn't want to go back to my old self. I started getting clean last year and luckily it didn't break me and I'm still clean today of the coke. After I've been 17, bloody hell, it's nearly 15 years. So I'm very proud of myself. But last year it was so weird because when I started to talk about the Illuminati, the Satanism side of things, at first I told my story because I had to say it on my YouTube channel because I was so scared and I just thought, if I don't get this out, I was scared. I wasn't scared for me. I was scared for other people that he was going to hurt them. So I blurted it all out and it probably wasn't put together the best way. So they've probably done me a favour, to be honest. But the reality of it is, first they deleted the video of my story.
And did they give you a reason why they deleted it?
They said what I was talking about was harassment. So what I was trying to do was trying to get people to understand how I understand how the media are very manipulating and how they use NLP techniques. And I was trying to show that some people can be bad who set up charities because I was just relating everything that I know about the Epstein Foundation and who they're linked to and all that kind of stuff. And I was just showing how I know that through my own story. And I guess my story probably wouldn't have come out as much as it is now, which is why I'm grateful for platforms like yours, because it seems right now that's the only thing I can do. I was on the ZZ Mills show not long ago, and I think with that, because with you, Shaun, a lot of people that follow you are truthers. With the ZZ Mills show, I'm glad it went out on there because a lot of people, I guess, are still stuck in the matrix who can watch that kind of stuff sometimes. I was the second non-celebrity on her show, do you know what I mean? So she started to really talk about some really good stuff now, how music influences our minds, like human trafficking, like myself. And we are getting the truth out there now, babe, and that is why, I don't care. They've took my Instagram down twice as well.
What were the grounds for that?
They said again they took it down and they said that I had gone against I'd violated their terms and conditions. But then obviously I emailed them.
Did they say which one?
No, they just said you can read the terms and conditions here. And I was, but obviously you're talking to a bot, aren't you, at
Read
Instagram?
the small print.
I know, about everything then we can't say. But it's funny though, isn't it? Because I know a lady that is responsible for getting the option on Instagram of the explicit child photo. So if you see an image of an explicit child, and that wasn't long ago, that was put on Instagram, and it was because of this lady that it was put on it. And I think sometimes that this society can cater for paedophiles, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like how it's so just blasé about the dark web, and that kids are going missing at the rate that they are, and that we've become a society that just accept, we're saying paedophiles have mental health, and I'm like, 1 minute, so my guy has been let out on good behaviour, and he could be said that he has mental health, but he's hurting other people. We cannot deny, if you are hurting another person, especially a child, bun you, man. No, we can't accept this. So I think I'm really just hoping, Shaun, by me now using other people's platforms like yourself, that this message can get out there, that cults are real, human trafficking is real, child exploitation happens, grooming happens. And I can guarantee, because since I've been speaking now, the amount of people that have come to me about the abuse that they've been through. There is trafficking survivors, like I've mentioned before, that are coming forward. There's people that I've interviewed on my own Instagram. There's a India Oxenberg who spoke about the Nixium cult, and that is on Prime, Amazon Prime. Like we need to stop denying this now. And I think I'm just adding fuel to the fire. Sorry, by showing people that this isn't just at the top. This is in our schools. This is in the crevices of society, because what Steve was doing was making a charity with our money as well. And this is what people need to remember. He took $250,000 off me alone, and he was making a charity for single mothers with that money, like part of that money. I also found out that he was gambling as well. Which is really mad, because I actually ended up being a professional masseuse for professional poker players, and found out that people who knew who he was. And I was like, and they told me he was always a scumbag. And I was just like, wow. So again, you don't know who you sat next to. You don't know where these people are. Well, my guy used to gloat about wearing George clothing, driving a clapped out car. And it turned out he was living in a high rise with 2 kids. So
what was he convicted of in the end?
So he's directly linked to human trafficking. So it was forced prostitution for financial gain of me and the minor that was involved as well.
And he got 8 years and served 4.
8.5 years he was put in prison for, and he served 4 on good behaviour.
People watching this are going to be absolutely flabbergasted, because crimes against women and kids are absolutely the most despicable. Totally. So to do 4 years for trafficking a minor, when there's people doing massive sentences for bullshit.
Bullshit, babe.
The whole justice system is upside down.
Yes, babe.
And that's why we've got our mission statement, end the war on drugs, take all those resources and go after these predators and give them long sentences.
Yes, babe.
Not 4 bullshit years. That's... Oh my God.
So I always say, Lady Justice is blindfolded for a reason. And it really is up to us now as this generation. I applaud you, Shaun. Honestly, I was a bit of a fangirl when I come in, when I was like, oh, but it's only because if there isn't people like us stepping up for our future generations, these cycles of abuse will continue. And I think it's a duty of care on my behalf to let people know what the fuck happened. And I keep saying to people, I put myself up for judgment every time. People can judge me. They can go out. There'll probably some awful people will go out there and search my fucking content. Do you know what I mean? I know this, predominantly the people have been amazing to me, but there is certain people that chat shit, do you know what I mean? And they say horrible things to me, and, and I just think that in itself is the reason why this continues. Steve used to laugh, and he'd be like, we are getting away with so much because of people not listening, and he used to gloat about it, and it's just, how many more people like me have to step up? How many more people have to get dismissed?
Well, the Epstein case has woke a lot of people up. I don't know if you saw, we interviewed Maria Farmer, Epstein victim.
Was that because I watched the one with was it Robert Nygaard? Is that
Peter Nygaard's son, Kai? Yeah, he's a brave guy as well.
Very brave,
going against his own dad.
I know, babe. This is what I'm saying. How many people have to step up? How many? Yeah. And I think if you look at things like Nixium, the Epstein case, and my case, it comes by us coming together. We didn't take that man down by one person. It wasn't one of us. We all had to do it. And it's the same with all the other situations. Once you have us come together, and this is what I continuously say, why they want to divide and conquer us, is because once we come together, we are a force to be reckoned with. And the thing about Save Our Children is that's also censored too. Hopefully people can understand, why are they censoring that? Why are they censoring me? Why are they doing things where they're unlawfully arresting survivors?
This is the thing, you have a court case documenting that this happened.
Yeah.
I think you perhaps could appeal to YouTube to get your channel back based on your court case.
Wow, that could be some... That's actually a good idea. Who am I harassing?
What it is, the enemy may have reported you and said these things, and you've not had your chance to present your side of the story with your documentation.
Oh, we can do that then.
That could be a good avenue. Because Anna Breeze she's a journalist and who exposed a lot of stuff. She lost her channel, but she managed to get her channel back. I saw that.
Really? Wow.
I think she's got over 100,000 subs right now as well.
Wow. See, this is the thing. I didn't even have 1,000 subs, babe.
Yeah.
I'm like, how scared are you? Like, not even that many people were following
This is the
me.
thing. I've had my channel started 12 years ago as a prison channel. Get my story and helping prisoners get their stories out there. In the last couple of years, the Epstein thing, we branched out to true crime. Epstein became the biggest thing on the channel. And the attacks then.
Oh, tell me.
Non-stop, just attacks.
I bet there's a few royalists as well that are like, what? No, he's amazing. Andrew is amazing. Like, oh, please. Like, honestly, he's
But they're very clever, the enemy.
Yeah.
They put together all kinds of things to try and bring you down.
And they have trolls working for them, babe.
Trolls working for them. They start accusing you of the things.
Yes,
and all
exactly that
kinds.
as well.
And it's like the trolls combine and put together these fake narratives and suck some of your followers in.
I know, babe.
To try and turn your own followers and subscribers against you.
How dare
They're very, very calculated and tricky to deal with.
But they're working for the darkness, though, aren't they, babe?
Yeah.
So it's like no matter what, they're going to have that kind of evil streak inside of them. Like, I'm not being funny, but we're trying to stop child exploitation.
Yeah.
And we're trying to stop human trafficking. And we are the bad people. Okay, then, mate. Like, come on. Like, and then, like, it's just mad in it. Like, but we know we live in a society that lets people defend themselves by saying they don't sweat on the BBC. Do you know what I mean? Like, how many of them have they had on the BBC? Savile, oh mate, honestly, defending these people, like, and I'm just like, how long is it now that we have to wait for the world to realise that this affects more people and children than anything else? Anything. What's going on right now does not have a touch on the nerve of the kids going missing to that industry. And for me, because I know I was a 21-year-old woman, like, you know, 21 to 24, for me, like, I was like, I know I was young, but I was still a lot older than some of the kids that are getting taken. So for them, I will do this until there's no breath in my body left, because I am here with the mission to save the children. Like,
yeah. I've got some more questions for you, but you mentioned earlier about the dark web. So every Friday night we do a live stream with Ron Swanson, who goes in and exposes those creeps on the dark web. So if people are watching this, please support what Ron Swanson does. So just going back to this guy then, in your case. So was he trafficking you to elite people?
No, babe, that was the thing. There was no, not that I know of. Do you know what I mean? But
when the big money was changing hands, were these people, they must have had quite important jobs to have that much money to spend? So
when I was trafficked, babe, like, most of the time, like, I wasn't really sold for more than £200 an hour. So it wasn't really that. But he always used to say, what do you think I'm doing with the money? So I'm like, who, like, he was living in a high rise. Who else was getting the money? Like, I know he was gambling. Like, I know that he was trying to set up a charity, but you don't have $5,000 a week and just do that. So I don't know, because
gamblers can piss a lot of money away.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But at the same time, like, I don't know if he had a handler. I don't know if he had someone to give money to. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really didn't know anything about him, which was the most dangerous part.
So you didn't know his life history or anything?
I didn't know nothing.
Even with the court case, were you able to find out things about him?
So the court case, that's when I found out that he was in, like, a high-rise in Birmingham, that he had 2 kids and a missus.
While all this was going on?
Yeah, babe. Like, literally, all of this stuff was going on, and he was... and this is why it was panicking, because it's like...
And she was clueless?
Well, this is the thing. I don't know how clueless she was to the drugs. I know she was aware of him getting on drugs and stuff. But in regards to that, no, I think she was clueless, because I don't know. Who the hell really would stay around them with kids? Like, if you knew that was happening.
How old was he during this period of time?
So he's in his late 50s, well, his early 50s, like, and I like, yeah, as I said, like, he's public domain, like, anyone can search him, like, and if you look at him as well, like, he just looks like a normal guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are like, what does a pimp look like? What does they're not fucking got, like, it's not like something out of, like, Snoop Dogg. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what do human traffickers look like? They don't have a label. They come as gay, they come as black, they come as white, like, do you know what I mean? They come as women, like, and this
Maxwell.
is why, this is why it's like, we have to, for me, like, the kids are what will save us, because they will take all the racism, the homophobia, everything out of the way, because unfortunately the pedos exist in every single label. Like, you cannot tell me that there isn't, like, corruption in the religious world, that there isn't corruption in the police. Like, but this is why I feel like once the labels are dropped and we just want to save the children, like, we can focus now on us coming together, because that's what they don't want us to do. And I think that's always the message that I'll always portray.
What else did you learn about him from the court disclosure?
Just that he was setting up the charity as well. We learnt that he was setting up a
charity. He had £250,000 he was doing that, did you say?
Well, I worked out he had £250,000 off me. So he would have had more than that, babe, because he was
30 girls
throughout the whole process. Yeah. Like, literally, like, and I, like, without a doubt, like, the homeless girls were bringing him in money because they were just willing to do anything. Do you know what I mean? But even they weren't stupid, man. They got off. Like, they even got, like, everyone got off before me. I honestly was such a mind control puppet, and I'm just so glad that I did not turn into him. Do you know what I mean? It's like, now looking back, it's like, anything he ever tried to get me to do, like even any of the other girls either, he could never push them to do, because none of us were as evil as him. You know, when he tried to get that girl to kill another girl in Thailand, like, because that's what he tried to do. We went Thailand one year.
When you say we, how many of you?
Just me and another girl,
and him.
He come later, yeah, and then he took us.
So he sent you to Thailand, did he?
No, it was my birthday, so I was apparently allowed to go there. But when we got there, it turned into a hellhole, because the girl that I was with was being made to pimp me out. So this is what I mean.
So you guys did you know each other before?
Yeah, we knew each other before, and that's why it was so sad, because that was who he was using to, like, he was doing the evil things too. He was like, and then he was getting her to pimp me out. So she was being made to do evil things to me, and I didn't know.
How does that work in a foreign country? Isn't that a bit...
Exactly. No, so she was making me do things like walk out in my underwear to get chicken and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, she was just being really horrible to me and telling me how to do things and go places. But when we was in Thailand, that's when he come over. I didn't know, obviously, until after. But he had tried to get her to kill one of the prostitutes that they brought back.
What was his motive?
That he just wanted her to do it. He wanted her to show him that she could, because that's how they work as well, don't they? Blackmail.
The victim... the possible victim, had she pissed him off in some way?
No, it was his plan anyway.
He just wanted this loyalty bond.
He wanted stuff on us, babe. Yeah, he wanted stuff on us, like, every single time. Like, yeah, honestly, that's why I think he was drilling us with all of that, the paedophilia and stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just trying to get us to be on his level. But no way, like, when you're a light worker, like, when you're full of light, like, no matter how much the darkness tries to take you, like, if anything, you'd probably hurt yourself over another person. Because even I remember when he tried to get me to stab him, because he went to stab me, and then he turned the knife on me, and that was when I said to you I was going to commit suicide, because we was on a balcony, and I thought, fuck it, if I jump I'll do it. But I think I was having a psychosis, and I basically heard a voice to tell me not to do it, and that I'd be okay. But yeah, like, even like with all of the stuff that he's done, like, he denied it all. He was like saying, oh no. And it was funny, because the court case, when we was there,
did you have to look at him in court?
No, you know what's the weirdest thing as well? So I work alongside a lady now who's actually responsible for changing the law to make sure victims can have a screen around them. And it was her that changed the law. So luckily we had a screen. But one of the girls was so traumatised, she had to do it through video, so that she couldn't even be in the same room as him. That was the minor, bless her. And he was so funny. So when it was like our thing in court, he basically got his story wrong, and when she was interviewing the minor, the defence, she was like, oh, I believe that this has happened on this date, and he was like, boom, boom, boom on the class windows, because he knew that he got his story wrong. But obviously there's little snidey things like that. It's like when I was there, he was coughing and tapping on the window saying, oh, that's not right, like, you need to say this kind of thing. And it's like, he's just that weird that he feels like he has to control everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, and he's trying to manipulate the people. And he always used to say to me, Sam, I can pay off £1,000 to one of the court people in court, because all he needed was one person to say no. So obviously there's all these things, but I'm just so glad and so grateful for the minor that started all this off. Without her, we wouldn't have had that inquest, and he wouldn't have had the time that he did. And as much as it's quite like tyranny, the fact he got fucking 4 years, like, at least that kind of justifies our story, which then gives us power, which will then make people realise how real this is. And I'm just,
because he's been fully exposed,
yeah.
we're assuming he would not be able to continue to do this kind of thing.
I'm hoping because he is on the sex offenders register for life. However, we know that they can change their names, but
get a canal boat and
exactly. Yeah. Oh my God, the canal boats, they freak me out. So this is why now, like, I just want people to know who he is so they can protect themselves. I want them to know about how easy it is so that they can protect their children, and I want people to know that I am here as a force to be reckoned with, and I think that I went through what I did so that I could help others, and that's all I want to do now, is just prevent this from happening, and also to save anyone from going through it. Because if I can stop one person, then I've done my job. But luckily, I'm going to go for the millions, like I said, and I'm not going to stop. I'm here for it all. I'm here to save the kids, and I'm here to bun Babylon to the ground.
You are one of the most passionate speakers we've ever had on the podcast.
Thanks,
You
babe.
are, like, glowing.
I really care, Shaun.
So, one of the most disturbing parts of the whole story was this about the homeless people. I mean, I've never heard anything like this before.
Yeah.
How... Like, would he just walk around to find homeless people? Would he send people out to find homeless people? How would he do it? Drive around
I remember,
in, like, city centres.
So in Birmingham, the red light area is Holloway Road. Is it? I can't remember what the actual street's called, but there's basically a red light district in Birmingham.
Still, people still go out on the streets doing...
Yeah,
I thought
the streetwalkers. No. The streetwalkers are there,
still
babe.
streetwalkers.
Yeah. It's sad, man. And I guarantee near enough all of them are getting trafficked or working for the gear, you know?
Yeah.
Or both. And he would drive up and down there and, he would just offer them drugs and then take them.
So he would get homeless streetwalkers, get them in his car... And then take him back to the apartment.
Give him a spiel, give him a bit of
apartment.
gear. Yeah. It's the same process was with me, but with the heroin instead of the coke.
What would he do then? Try and, like, clean them up and stuff, and then put them on the road?
No.
Well, I don't mean clean them up from drugs. I mean, like, from being homeless to looking.
Okay.
Appearance
no, he didn't
wise.
care. He called them scumbags, and he didn't care about that. He obviously they would be in apartments with me, but no, he didn't care. They were disposable to him. Like, he didn't care.
Well, I mean, to get the most amount of money out from the customers, wouldn't he have had to, like, make their appearance better?
No, babe.
No.
These guys will fuck a dog with lipstick, mate, honestly. And I don't, honestly, and I know disrespect because these women are beautiful inside, and it's sad, but they from external, like, you know, like, some of them had been through so much abuse that they did look like, one of the girls, like you said, like, the police officers were repulsed, and it's sad, because she was so sweet. She tried to give me a makeup box, like, bless her, like, because she was still giving, like, do you know what I mean? She was still a giving person.
They probably had some serious mental issues as well.
Yeah, oh my God, that's why they're on the drugs, babe. I couldn't handle being raped by my dad, do you know what I mean? So God knows, like, how they handle what they do.
Did you see any of those people, or any of the girls, in fact, like, cutting themselves or trying to commit suicide, anything like that?
No, but I'm aware that some of the girls that were in the situation are self-harmed. I think there's different degrees, isn't there, of self-harm, whether that be through narcotics or whether that be through physical. Yeah, or even, going out and throwing yourself as an object again. You know, there's so many forms of food, you know what I mean, gorging or not eating at all.
Did any of the girls go out and not come back, or go out and were, like, got in a really dangerous situation where he had to rescue them, or...
He would
Was there a system in place if, like, the client just turned psycho, had a kill kit or something?
No, because basically that nearly happened twice with us. Like, there was a guy, and it's like, you just, like, no, he said there would be, but he never interjected in any sense whatsoever. It was more like a phone call after him, said, well, this has happened. He's like, right, I'll sort it. Bullshit, mate. God knows what. He probably just put the phone down and was like, let's get them to make more money.
Yeah, because he wouldn't beat up a man. He was just such a coward.
He was a coward, babe. This is what I'm saying. Like, he always, like... So I've spoken to some of the poker people, and they said he was a bully, but, like, to women, like, he wasn't a bully. He was an aggressor. Like, he was a manipulator and a narcissist, like, who had every agenda And he used to say that he was pimped out as a kid. Like, that's what he said. His mum was a prostitute. Now, for me, like, that would make it understandable but not justified, because what does that mean? I need to go beat people up now? Does that mean that the likes of Janet Archer are going to start stabbing people? No, because that's not what we do, babe. You know, like, we care about humanity, because you can either go bitter or better. And I don't even know if that was true anyway, but even if it was true, that does not justify, like, you going around doing that. Like, because what he was doing, like, I remember he used to like nearly burn me with cigarettes, and he'd be like, can you feel the heat? And he'd tell me that that's what his mum used to do to him, like, when he's doing it to me. And I'm just like, so 1 minute you've had all this bad stuff done to you and you want to continue that? Like, come on. Like, so for me, I forgive him. I've had to, because I've, for the past like, I think 9 years, I've been doing so much from, like, therapy, neuroplasticity, personal development, mindfulness, microdosing, gym, you know what I mean? Like, everything, babe. Like, I rewire my brain every day to know I'm a survivor. And I've took my own NLP course, so I know what the fuck he was dealing with. So I became a practitioner, and I was like, oh, that's how you work language. Then I see what the government are doing, and I'm like, oh, you're using the same techniques. Okay. Right, so,
all the media bullshit.
Mate, honestly.
Mind control,
Pure.
brainwashing.
Exactly that, babe. And that is why, like, I will not stop. And I just want people to understand that with this information, like, you can save a child. So just think about how powerful you can be with the change just by spreading this knowledge, because the awareness is one of the biggest things that we can do. People are always asking, what can I do? Infiltrate the system. What are you good at? Let's get all the creatives, the film directors, you know what I mean? Like, everyone, like, we know Outer Shadows is out now, like Fall Cabal, but all of these things, they're not on mainstream media. Like, luckily a few blue ticks are stepping up now, like Marlene from Love Island, she had me on her live. They censored her, shock. ZZ though, Mills, like, she's had it on. So there is more coming now, and I'm hoping from this interview and the other stuff I planned this year, there will be a constant flow of people to, I guess, break free from this paradigm where they're trying to keep us, because they are trying to hide the truth for a reason. Because I think if people knew to the extent of, like, you know, like Epstein, like you say, it's a massive case around it all, but if they knew the extent of everything else that leads off that, they would be like, fuck you, mate. Like, you think I'm going to listen to you? Like, you can't even brush your own hair, let alone run a country. Like, it's like these people, they don't care about us. And I think when people realise that they're protecting people like Steve, you know, and you know, they're victim blaming, and, you know, it's just mad. Like, so I think hopefully, like, I'm just so glad that there's channels like yours, but I'm just hoping now we can get to a point in society where we can accept this so that we can make change. Because first we have to accept we have a problem in order to move forward. And I think that's where we're stuck at right now. People won't accept that this is real, and I get it. It's dirty, it's filthy. No one wants to fucking know. But think about how you feel living with it, mate. Like, you know, like, it's all well and good people saying, oh, I don't care. Like, I mean, you know, it's I don't want to listen to it. It's too much for me. How do you think, like, honestly, I've wanted to wake up sometimes and just murk myself off, because I feel like, I felt when I was taking drugs, I was hurting people. I felt like, I basically felt like a piece of shit. Do you know what I mean? And it's took me 9 years to work it all out and get to where I am now. And I just think, like, it's just sad, because, like, I just don't see why we have to have more stories like mine come out to realise how real this is.
Yeah, and I would urge people to watch TED Talks of not just victims of trafficking, of mums. Watch TED Talks of mums, of kids who've been trafficked, of kids who've not come back, or kids that they've had to get back through various methods of just horribleness. The things that the kids went to. The kid disappeared one day, just ran off and fell into the hands of a trafficker, and what the trafficker made that kid did. And that, hearing a mom say that kind of stuff, for me, just fucking, yeah.
That's what I mean. My dad's, like, you know, bless him, like, he struggled so much, like, with what happened. You know, and I love him so much because he's supported me with everything. And yeah, it's kind of broke our family a bit. So it's sad, but that's why it's like I can't just sit here, and it's like you say, like, they're everywhere. There's TED Talks about this, like, you know, there's channels like yours. This will be on the mainstream media soon, and trust me, you'll be seeing this mug doing it. It will be me, and I will be making sure that I am the face of satanic ritual abuse and making people understand that this is closer to home than you think, this is more real than you think, and it's not something out of a movie. That's what they did to desensitize us. These people are very real. And they hide in the cracks and crevices of this society, and I want to try and eliminate some of them at least. We got to try and do something, babe. So, yeah.
All right. So, as you are getting your story to bigger and bigger audiences,
yes,
have other victims like saw you and contacted you?
Yeah.
And how does that feel when that happens?
So that's why I do it. Like, I just feel like sometimes, like, when I know that I've given someone else strength, because everyone keeps saying to me I'm so strong, and I keep saying to them, listen, like, this isn't me, because I don't like this whole guru thing. Like, I think the false idol thing is what's got us in trouble.
But your passion, like, you exude this passion and power. Seriously, you are like a spearhead of this.
Oh, babe, thank you.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, when people message me, and they always say to me as well, they're like, I haven't been through anything you haven't. And I'm like, bro, like, you don't understand. The only thing you're resonating with is my pain, because you've been through pain, and that's why you resonate with me, because you know what it feels like to be fucked over. Like, and it's like, that's why I feel like so many people are resonating with me now, because I think throughout my life, like, you know, I have kind of represented everyone. Like, I'm a northern girl from Manchester. I ain't normal, but I am in society's terms. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm a normal girl. Like, so I'm trying to speak for all the survivors. I'm trying to give voices to the voices. I'm giving a voice to the 7 girls that were with me and they won't speak. And not because they can't, it's because they don't want to. And so what? Like, if someone doesn't want to share their story publicly, then more power to them. But I want to make sure that if you don't share it or you do, you are a survivor and you are powerful. Never let these motherfuckers try and take you and your brain, because we are the controllers, we are the survivors, and they have done everything they can to bury us, but we are fucking seeds, mate, and we grow that way. So put us however you want, but right now what we're here to do in this society is to light up the world, Shaun. Like, and it's people like us who will not stop, and they best be fucking scared.
Now, as well as all the people reaching out to you, then have any of the people who were victims of the same guy have you reached out to you? Any of the homeless or any of the other girls?
No, not yet. I knew that obviously the victims I went to court with, I know them.
How many victims were there in court?
Seven of us, yeah.
And have you kept in contact with them?
So yeah, some of them are my best friends. Like, that's why it's sad, because who got brought into this were people that were very close to me. So yeah, I think there's one girl I don't speak to anymore. Ma was one of the girls. And yeah, but one of the other girls, like, she was there towards the end. But then there was, there hasn't been anyone else. But you know when he come out from the news, there was other people that were commenting on there about him, like, pushing them downstairs and all of that kind of stuff. So I think he was just a bit of a cunt in general, like, to the public domain, like. But I've not had any survivors that have been in my situation, but if there is anyone that's ever been abused by Steve, like, and you know, like, they find him online and they know that and they come to me, please do, man, because I'm on a mission now, like you, to get everyone's story out there of survivors of this kind of abuse. So yeah, that would be amazing, because apparently we can get him re-put in prison if he's done bad things as well.
So I know a lot of people, when they go through this kind of stuff, they just want to put it behind them and they don't want to put their face out there. Do you think there would be any of the other survivors of him who would want to come on here and tell their story? You could even, you know, come on with them to give them the strength.
I would love them to, but I know personally up to now, like, they've just never wanted to, you know.
Totally
like,
understandable.
Yeah, and that's why, like, maybe hopefully one day they would be ready, and if they was, I would always bring them to you, because there's
the trauma
a safe
reliving
space.
it and everything.
Yeah, and I think the only reason I can do this now is because I've done it for so long. Like, when I first told my story, like, I tried to do it word for word off a piece of paper because I was so scared. Like, and even then,
That's
like,
what I was in the schools with my
It
piece
was
of
like
paper.
for
Yeah, I
started
tried to do
12
that.
years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah. But then it gets natural, doesn't it?
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's what it's about, you know. And 7 years to be a genius at anything, they say. But I would love one day for another survivor of what happened to come forward, because I guess it just puts again more fuel to the fire. But like I say, all of the stuff I've spoke about is out there. It's public domain. You know, they can find all of this stuff anyway. But I'm just hoping, I really would love for another person to step up, but it's really not my place. I speak for them when I say they're all survivors too. We were in this as one, and we took this man down as one. And I just hope that anyone else out there, because another survivor of SRA come out after I told my story. Anyone who's a survivor of any kind of abuse, don't ever think that your story is not valid. Don't ever think that your story is not important, because the amount of people that I've been able to heal by healing myself, and just by telling my story, I tell you, it is one of the most empowering things. It's scary as fuck, and people will say horrible things to you sometimes, but fuck them, because as long as you know that what you're doing is shining the light, like it takes one candle to light up a dark room, and we can be that candle. So yeah, I truly believe that that's what we're doing now.
And it's so dark, isn't it? You feel that sometimes society just doesn't want to acknowledge it exists because it is so dark. They don't want to look at it. It's an ugly thing, and it just...
You feel dirty for knowing it sometimes, don't you? Like, and obviously, like, even when I have my flashbacks and stuff, like, sometimes, like, I just have to sit in the bath for a good hour, like, draining it out of me, because I'm like, fuck. Luckily I don't self-harm, like, and I don't do, like, I don't take drugs, like, I don't take the coke anymore and stuff, so I find myself with means now of things like superfoods. I take this product that puts my body in ketosis. I do a lot of personal development and do the gym, and I think what now I've got addicted to is bettering myself.
Yeah.
Which means now that he hasn't won, which is the biggest thing, because I want to say a message to survivors that once you take control of your power back, they can't win you. And every thought, whether it be a flashback or whatever, if you need to cry, cry. If you need to scream, scream. But just know that, like, you got through everything that you did because of the fucking warrior that you are, And I think that's what we, like, as people that have been through abuse, we need to big ourselves up a bit more, and we need to remember that. And I just want every survivor of abuse to know that they're not victims. And whether that be anyone that was in my situation, just know that your story is valid, and your voice is needed, and more power to you for surviving in it.
Channel that energy into strength.
Yes, babe.
And you've got the heart of a mountain lion.
Honestly.
If people want to reach out to you, then
yes.
What socials are you on?
I am on Facebook and Instagram, because I can't cope with anymore. There are people like, get a TikTok, get a this. I'm like, mate, honestly, I'm still an old fogey with like bloody stuff like this.
I know, there's
mate.
so much, isn't there?
We need a team, don't we, babe? We need teams, we do. So yeah, the place on Facebook is Samantha Browne. That's my Facebook with an E on the end, and then my Instagram is SamanthaB_DY. And then I've got my channels, obviously, regards my businesses. So I've got my Stop Child Exploitation, Diamond You Projects, and my One Self Wellbeing, because last year I turned into a bit of a healer in regards like superfoods, because with this whole virus happening, I thought, well, I want to keep myself in tip-top like optimal health. So I started to learn about superfoods and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send you some.
Blueberries.
No, these are like sea moss, babe.
Oh, okay.
This is good stuff. I'm going to send you
My mum's
some
always
sea
saying
moss.
sprouts, blueberries. These are our superfoods.
I love you. You're so sweet, babe. But no, these are like really good stuff. So I will send you some so you can have a look. But I just want people to know that like we aren't what happened to us, and like you say, the past is something to belong there, to learn from, and not to let consumers, because we're not there anymore. We are here, and the present is a gift, because it's the present moment, like, you know. And I try and live it, like, I know through trauma sometimes you can go back to that, but I do try and live every day in the present moment. I focus on my future, and I do something every single day that will invest in my well-being and push me towards my goals. And I think that's another thing that we can help people with their mental health is productivity, with this mission. So whether it be making leaflets, posting, not everyone knows about Ghislaine and Epstein, get some leaflets through the door. We just created a leaflet with a few things on there that we can post through the door, you know, with a bit of Wilfred on there, a bit of a few cases on there, just so we can try, because the media are trying everything they do to silence us and this message. So I just want people to think, well, why is that? Why would they do that? Just think for yourself. Like, why would they do that? Like, this is dangerous information. For the kids who could get exploited if the information isn't put out there, that's when it's dangerous. Apart from that, this is very valid information that I feel like every parent should know about, every young person should know about. And let's face it, we all want to be accepted, and we're all a bit naive and vulnerable. So I guess it's for everyone to take on board and understand that these wolves in sheep's clothing hide everywhere.
It's so frustrating, isn't it, when you hear a story like John Wedge's, and once he starts to help the kids on the streets, orders from above, shut it down.
I know.
Isn't that what the police are for?
Literally.
To protect the kids.
To protect them, exactly. Like, and, you know, I openly speak about going on protests. I'm always on the protest for Save Our Children and the Freedom Marches. And I've tried to speak to police officers so much. Like, I'm like, because on the 21st, on the last one, it was actually a spring solstice. It was a solstice, and on that day on the satanic calendar, it's a big sacrificial time for children. And this is what I mean, people don't even know what the satanic calendar is. I've had to look into all of this stuff. And I was trying to explain it to the policeman. I was like, you know, there's a mass sacrificial day. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, you don't know, do you? And he's like, and I was like, kids are getting exploited. He's like, I know. I said, yeah, but I was like, but are you listening to what I'm saying? He said, yeah, but I need to make sure you're safe right now. I was like, we don't need saving. I was like, the kids do. He's like, yeah, but I ain't got time for that right now. And that's the problem. I was waiting for him to say either he hasn't got time or he can't, he's like, he can't be bothered, or, you know, something along them lines. All right, I can't look at that right now. That's the problem that we face. People don't want to look at it. People don't want to face it. I'm like, literally, grow some balls, will you? And just like understand that this isn't about us. This isn't about me. This is about the kids. Like, this, for me, it's just about the children. Like, we need to, for every bone in our body, stop these cycles of abuse. Because like I said at the start, if not, it's a very slippery slope to your kids thinking it's okay to be a sugar baby. And the last thing they want to do is sell their soul for money, because that's what I did. And I'm telling you, it will lead you to a dark place. It's not pretty. There's bad mental health there. The amount of girls that are cloned because of the way that they look with their plastic surgery. People are promoting their insecurities from people like Kim Kardashian, you know, things like Towie. Like, I don't judge anyone that watches that stuff. I'm just saying that is feeding you insecurities. These people have bad mental health, like, and they are doing that, like, covering that up. And we are going in now into a society where we either go into, you know, I guess a new world order narrative, or we go into a new earth narrative. And I'm rooting for this new earth, because I know that we can be equal. Everyone can have abundance. The children are fucking safe, you know, and we can live off the land a bit more. Do you know what I mean? And we're not focused on this matrix of, I need to get on top of people. I need to get this, the chains, the watches, the women. Ugh, like, honestly.
Do you do yoga and meditation?
I do. Yeah, I need to. Can you not tell if I don't? I'm already excited. Honestly, I can never sit still for the life of me anyway. So, but it did take me about a year to learn how to meditate, because my brain wouldn't shut up. And even still now.
Yeah, it's gone.
It does. Yeah, and I think now you can accept that you have them thoughts, but then you just go back to your heartbeat and stuff. But it's tools like this, like, I feel like that should be taught in school.
Yeah, I don't. Can actually help people.
Yeah. It's like, if you're gonna put them in detention, make them meditate in there.
Yeah,
put some
good idea.
Beats on,
so
like
writing bloody lines.
Yeah, like I will not do this. Like, mate, what? Come on, like, this is the Simpsons. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, they know more truth than the frigging news, though, don't they? I go to them for my answers now. I'm like, what's gonna happen next, guys? So yeah, but. Yeah, it's been a mad journey, but I just feel I'm at a point now where I can really just be comfortable with if someone did slag me off, because I know what I'm trying to do.
Because you're over the target. The more flack.
I know. Mate, wait till they see what the fuck's coming there. Mate, honestly, I'm excited. Like, I signed up for this. Like, I because I'm so spiritual now, I know I chose this life, and I'm like, I'm like thinking to myself, like, I know now my reward at the end is to be my old Rasta lady with my ganja farm and my last 10 years. But for the next 60 years, they're fucking screwed, mate. I'm coming for them, for the juggler, mate. Like, I am side by side with you, Shaun, like, and the likes of you and the likes of John Wedger and Alex Rose Betts and all the people out there who are on the front line that are out here doing this, you know what I mean? And I've been able to... get some amazing people on board my organisation now as well, and people are looking to start, putting money, like a part of their businesses towards it. And I think that's when we can realise, like, it's little people doing a lot of people doing little bits. Do you know what I mean? This isn't about it falling on one's shoulders. This isn't an ego trip in this mission. Like, this is about us all coming together as one. And we have leaders that have led or that have been doing it like before, like you and Wilfred Wong and John Wedger, like, and then it's like, now we need to step up in our generation to be that next generation to continue this, because I think the light work's going to have to keep going for a few years. We are gaining light. I think more people are waking up, but we need more. And I think once we get the majority, that's when Babylon faded. Like, literally, massively. Like, Babylon will fall. We will realise that this system has never served us. It's never wanted to serve us. It's always wanted to divide us so that we can fight each other as opposed to fighting for each other. And I truly think that this is, I hope, because I know that Ghislaine got done, didn't she, for trafficking the 14-year-old recently. She
just got another charge.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I love it. Now we're like, there, you scumbags. And this is why I feel like maybe this could be the Great Awakening. Who knows? Like, and because I am spiritual, like, I know about the age of Aquarius, and I'm really into that. So I know that what it's about, and it's about collective consciousness. And I see more people coming every day. I see more people stepping up every day. And I'm so proud of everyone in this movement. I don't like everyone in this movement, but I still know that. Because we're not going to agree with everyone, are we, babe?
No.
But if everyone has the mission of saving the children, like, I'm down for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really don't care about what label you are. I just think we have to have that common narrative as well, because it would just diffuse all of the labels, and we won't be like, oh yeah, you're a white man and you're a black woman. Do you know what I mean? Like, it'll be like, mate, we're just brethrens and we're here to save the world. Like, let's do it. Like,
stay with the mission and stay. Yeah. We've all got to support each other.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And even if we don't get along with everyone, we just have to be like, hi and bye, we're on the same mission. Like, and I think sometimes, like, people can get their ego in this mission, like, but people have to remember that it's really not about us. This is about the future generations. And that's why I love that we both go into the schools where we're doing what we've got to do. But you would have seen it change so long. I mean, you would have been in the schools well longer than me.
10 years.
Wow, 10 years, mate, and you will. I've been in like the past 5 years, and I have seen kids' skirts get shorter. Like, one of the mums messaged me the other day, and she was like, I can't find a knee-length skirt for my kids, Sam. And I was like, what? Like, and it's mad because in school I got the shortest skirt award. Like, what is that about? Like, sorry, mate, but my school was a bit weird.
The knife crime and the county lines, it's all just gone crazy.
It really has, and that's why if we don't do this now, I am guaranteeing you a more slippery slope than what we've got. Like,
so you're going to have loads of people watching this who are going to want to reach out to you then. Oh. Is there anything you want to say to them in conclusion?
Oh, and I'm used to talking at you. I'm like, which one do I look at? Sorry, we have...
So that one right there is on you. The one nearest to me is right on you.
Lovely. Yeah. Well, I guess I really just want people to know that they really are powerful, and I want people to understand that I am one of many, many, many stories out there that are similar to mine, and I am here to put a voice to the voiceless. So thank you for taking the time to listen to me. And thank you for caring for the kids, because I'm telling you, if a kid couldn't have survived what I went through. And we need to do that for them. And thanks to Shaun.
Thanks to you guys. Thanks to all of you guys as well for supporting our work.
You're amazing.
And all of Samantha's links are going to be in the description box below this video. So please, help her along on her mission. Huge thank you to all the new subscribers. Subscription logos down there.
Yes, boys.
It should be more than 666.
Please, by the end of this, we need to get it to 667 by the end of this. But I did say we would change that into a good narrative, wouldn't we? We'll switch it to the angel numbers, not the darker numbers.
Definitely.
Oh, that bastard's following me.
So please let us know in the comments what you thought about this. Please let us know if you'd like Samantha to come back on. I already know from the 30-minute one, generally all the love and respect and support. Yeah, so thanks for helping that along. All right, so here's the Arizona prison handshake first.
Is this what we do?
And then bump fist.
Right.
And then give me a hug.
Oh,
yeah. Brilliant, thank you. Excellent.